in BC, and the Hamilton Tiger Cats will need a superhero to have a chance against one of the best in the West. The Lions have been great against the bottom half of the CFL, while the Tiger Cats have yet to beat a team with a record over 500. It is Hamilton, BC, coming up on TSN.
Gotta dream big, dream bigger, dream big, dream loud, dream big, dream bigger, dream all the lights out, dream big, dream bigger, dream big, dream loud, dream big, dream bigger, dream all the lights out, dream big, dream bigger, dream big, dream loud, dream big. Dream bigger, keep all the lights out.
Even though the Lions ended up losing their last game, Vernon Adams with a monster performance, 455 yards, 3 TDs, looking to build off that total and get the Lions back on track. Meanwhile, former Lion James Butler certainly hoping that doesn't happen as he looks for a monster performance against his old team, playing BC for the very first time, as we welcome you to Saturday Night Football on TSN. Kate Burness alongside Dave Naylor, Jim Barker, Milt Stiegel, as we get set for the Lions taking on the Tiger Cats. We will get right into it. Who are you watching for in this game, Dave?
I am watching for turnovers because I think that's the only way the Hamilton Tiger Cats can win this game. Hey, that's the formula Saskatchewan showed last week. If you win the turnover ratio, you can pull an upset on the Lions. So Vernon Adams match up with the Hamilton Tiger Cat secondary for me.
Well, after last night when the Toronto Argonauts ran out of defensive backs and had to play a linebacker at defensive backs, I thought I'd look at the rosters, and it's amazing. Tonight, there's 45 players on the rosters. 3 of them are special teams. So that leaves you 42 players. Normally, it's 22, 20, you know, right in that range. Tonight, they're dressing 24 players on defense and 18 on offense. 3 of those are quarterbacks. They got 4 backups. I think that's going to be fun to watch.
That's going to be fun to watch, Coach. I hear you. For me, talking about James Butler playing against his old team, he has, 520 yards on the season? He'll probably need that today for the Hamilton Tiger Cats to have an opportunity to win this game. They have to rely on the run game. They have young quarterbacks, Howell starting, guys behind him are young, so they're going to have to rely on James Butler to have a big game for them to have an opportunity to keep this game close, maybe.
He's had some big games in that stadium before. See if he can do it in another uniform.
Let's see.
Yeah, well, the Hamilton Tiger Cats haven't fared well against teams with records over 500. 0-5 on the season, coming off a loss to the Edmonton Elks. Can they turn it around, though, and beat one of the best teams in the CFL? You know what? This kind of reminds me of you, JB. Lion? No, the superhero.
Whoa.
All these superheroes. You're our superhero.
Thank you, Kate, on a beautiful summer Saturday afternoon here in Vancouver as we get set for the 100th regular season meeting between 2 storied franchises, the Tiger Cats and the BC Lions, a game that means a lot to these players for different reasons. Let's start with one, James Butler Suits, who was a star here with the BC Lions until he signed on as a free agent with the Tiger Cats.
Yeah, James Butler returns to the West Coast for his Circle It in the Calendar game to play against his old teammates. One of those teammates is starting middle linebacker Ben Haladic for the BC Lions. And we used to go at it in practice, joking about who would make the tackle. Could he make the tackle? Could he stop him? Well, we'll see if he can tonight.
And Rick Campbell is head coach in his 3rd season on the Lions sideline, off to a 7-3 start. 2nd in the West, trying to get closer to Winnipeg again. Orlando Steinauer's Ticats off to a rough start. They've lost 3 of the last 4. They have won 3 of the last 4 that were against BC, and hoping for a repeat of last year. Steinauer is in the second half of the season when they finish strong. There's the fullback David Mackey back for kick return to help out this man, Terry Williams, one of the star returners in the CFL, who is 2nd in combined yardage in the Canadian Football League this season so far. On a beautiful Saturday, the CFL on TSN Week 12 underway again here, and Williams has it across the 30 as he is taken down there by Bailey Feltmate on the tackle. So on comes Vernon Adams, who in a losing cause had a great game against Saskatchewan last week.
Yeah, it's not very often that a quarterback throws for 455 yards and 3 touchdowns and loses the game, but that's what happened last week in Saskatchewan. Big win for the Riders. VA has looked outstanding, though. His accuracy over the second half of this first half of the season has been fantastic. See if he can carry on like he did against Saskatchewan.
Just past the halfway point of the season, he's thrown for over 2,300 yards, completing 70% of his passes. Heading into this week was tied for the lead in touchdown passes with 16. Underway, BC. And off it goes to Taquan Mizell on the screen, and he has room to run afterwards. Across midfield he goes. Taken down by Jameer Thurman after a gain of 21, and a good start for the Lions offense.
There he is in the backfield. A lot of talk about James Butler for Hamilton coming back to the West Coast, but this is Butler coming out of the backfield. He sneaks out, and when he gets out into the flat, watch him follow his blocking very nicely. A couple pulling old linemen getting out in front of him. They pick up the first 2 tacklers, and away he goes. Good way to start for the Lions.
As they get across into Hamilton territory now, the Ticat 54. Mizell, as you mentioned, the one taking the spot of James Butler after he left for Hamilton. Play action fake. And Adams running out of time, and down he goes. The Ticats with a big sack after giving up that big play, and it is Casey Sales, who's just having a tremendous year on that defensive front for Hamilton.
Well, his 4th sack. He had one last week, so back-to-back games already with the sack, and asked Coach Steinauer about his play and who, really is impressing him in his defensive line, and he didn't hesitate to say Casey Sales.
The former Bomber and a couple of Grey Cups with Winnipeg before heading over to the Ticats in 2023. So a 2nd and long after the loss of 3 for Adams. Game just underway. First possession, and over the middle, deep and complete. Finds an open receiver, as he has many times. It is Keon Hatcher with a big first down. The Lions quickly on the move inside the Ticat 30, a pickup of 28 yards.
This is what I mean about the accuracy over the last 4 or 5 games from Vernon Adams. He is aiming small and missing small. What that means is he aims for a specific spot on the receiver, not just the receiver, and puts it right where he wants to. That's the little bit on the back shoulder. Give his receiver a chance to make that catch without getting hit.
He was so accurate last week in some big plays, deep balls, you're right,
amazing.
Against the Riders. So on the ground now it's Mizell, picks up about 3 yards before he is taken down. Once again, Casey Sales involved in that play. Look at the offense of the Lions.
Yeah, Jarrell Broxton missed last week and is back in the lineup at that left tackle spot. Lucky Whitehead really kind of broke through, had this big game that everyone has been looking for here in BC for a while, had a 78-yard touchdown. Hollins had the big game. He had another 100-yard game, but Whitehead finally got on the board, couple touchdowns, and that big play.
Gain of 2 for Mizell. So a 2nd and 8 coming up here. In scoring range, the Lions' first possession off to the right, complete. Just inside the 20. First catch of the afternoon for Alexander Hollins, who you talked about it, had 161 receiving and a touchdown last week at Mosaic.
Well, his pace is for just shy of 1,300 yards, and it feels like when you watch the Lions that Alexander Hollins and Keon Hatcher kind of taking turns. One guy will be over 100 in one game, the other guy is over 100 in the other, although Hollins has been so close to 100. I've counted them almost as 100-yard games when he gets to 85 and 92 and things like that.
Dominic Davis is in short yardage. He didn't quite get there, so just inside the 20. Davis, no, maybe not. Boy, he got pushed back the first time. He tried again, backing in. The Ticats think they have forced a turnover on downs. Wait for the spot. Their offense is coming on the field. Let's wait and see what they have ruled here. But it does not look like it. A big turnover for that Hamilton Tiger Cat defense as Dominic Davis came in at short yardage and did not get the foot they needed. Ticats first possession coming up here in BC Place.
Comes on their defense. It's Ted Laurent, the Canadian veteran, 11 years in the Canadian Football League, cutting across the face of Michael Couture, the center, and creating a pile for his linebackers to get there. low man wins down in this short yardage type of play, and man, big man just knocked it out of the park with a great hit. Creates the pile, pushes the line of scrimmage backwards. That's a big play for Hamilton, taking points off the board.
Absolutely, a big boost suits for these Ticats. Taylor Powell, the rookie, 4th career start. As he steps up, he was sacked 7 times last week against Edmonton. Josh Banks gets him there on their first play from scrimmage, and down he goes. So a 2nd and long coming up.
Yeah, you know, I mean, this has been a bit of a roller coaster for the Hamilton Tiger Cats and their fans, going through a few different quarterbacks, and Matthew Schultz and Bo Levi Mitchell, and now Taylor Powell. He's 0-3, but I think we're seeing improvement. Certainly clearly a student of the game when you get a chance to sit and talk football with him.
He's an impressive young man to talk to, and the moment doesn't seem too big, and this is a very tough test for him, especially here in Vancouver after a loss of 4. So 2nd and long, and that's long enough, as that is completed to Terry Godwin back in the lineup for the Ticats after he missed last week, and that is close to a 1st down for Hamilton.
Boy, when you're young, you need a couple of plays like this early in a game to just give you that confidence. And Taylor Powell steps into this throw, his receiver, and Godwin comes back to the football in between that small window. So he helps out his young quarterback, and that's kind of a confidence-building throw from a young Taylor Powell.
It is indeed a 1st down across the 30 for Taylor Powell, completing his first pass in this young game. And then on the sweep, it's Tim White, their leading receiver, running the football there, and he picks up about 4 more yards. Let's take a look at that Tiger Cat offense.
Well, if they can get some balance, they can also help a young quarterback, and that means the leader of that offensive line, Brandon Revenberg, former 1st-round pick out of Grand Valley State, needs to lead that group up front. And there he is, returning to the West Coast, James Butler. Scott Milenovich, the new offensive coordinator, calling the plays up in the booth. See how many he can get in the hands of Mr. Butler.
They made that change 2 weeks ago during their bye week. Milenovich, former head coach in Toronto, coming back and replacing Tommy Condell, the longtime OC. 2nd and 5 after that pickup by White. Out of shotgun, and Powell. And Duke Williams has the ball in his hands, and they're saying no catch. And it'll be a punting situation coming up here now for the Ticats.
It's really close. That looked like he caught it, but the official had a good line of sight to it. Certainly better than the one up here. You can't use the ground. You can't use the ground to help you make the catch, and you can see clearly from that replay he did.
So Terry Williams, averaging just over 11 yards a return, has a longest of 44 on the season for BC. And the new punter, Corey Vedvik, formerly of Saskatchewan, acquired before last week's game in a trade after Bailey Flint went home to Australia. The Vedvik punt. After a 53-yarder, and Williams breaks through. How did he get through that? But the ball comes out. And I don't know, Brooks Parker looked like the Lion who may have picked it up. A little battle with Nick Cross going on there, but it was a good-looking return by Williams, and then the ball came out. And this could be another great break for Hamilton, as they think they do have it, but it looked like Parker was in there too after a 23-yard return by Terry Williams.
They're still battling for that football.
The ruling on the field is that the ball carrier was down with contact.
That changes. They can stop fighting if that's the goal.
So a good break for BC on this return by Williams. Ruling he's down by contact. Might take another look at that.
Well, who recovered it?
About this, because the ruling was that he was down by contact. Clearly he wasn't, Glenn, as the ball came out.
Well, and apparently what we've heard now is that because it wasn't cleanly recovered there, and I guess they didn't make a call as to who recovered it, this is going to not be challengeable, and the Lions will maintain possession. But had they called the Hamilton recovered that fumble, it was a fumble, and Steinauer wanted to challenge it, was told he couldn't.
And so it is BC ball Up at the Lion 48, first down, so they caught a break there. Justin McInnes gets it up in midfield, tries to work for more after a gain of 7. Tunde Adeleke and Richard Leonard in there on the tackles. So let's have a look at the Ticat defense now.
Well, we talked about Casey Sales, and Coach Steinhauer raved about how well he's been playing. I know the record is one thing, but you still see a lot of bright lights in there, and then Sales is one of them. Simone Lawrence, 4 tackles away from 700 tackles in his career. And also, Coach Steinhauer talked about their leading defensive back in interceptions.
And so on that 2nd and 7, and the intended receiver is Lucky Whitehead.
Said Richard Leonard, Rod, as you were on that call, just saying just how solid he has been, and that he can play at an all-star level at any one of the positions across the back of the secondary. And play into the boundary here, or excuse me, to the field here.
And that pass was incomplete to Whitehead, so 3rd and 3, and the Lions at midfield are going for it.
Or maybe trying to draw him.
Or trying to draw him. Adams gets it, and he kicks it. Vernon Adams, the punter. A little quick kick there for Stavros Katsantonis. The safety back to take it, draws the no yards too. So a little trickery there for the Lions offense turned special teams. A punt by Vernon Adams, Hamilton football. Before he left as a free agent to Hamilton, James Butler was a big part of the Lions offense, ran for over 1,000 yards last season. With more, let's head down and say hello to Farhan Lalji.
Guys, there were no hard feelings when the BC Lions decided they did not want to spend as much as James Butler was hoping to receive at the running back position. That doesn't mean he agreed with it, though. Butler's watched in frustration as running backs in the CFL and the NFL certainly get devalued. We've heard a lot of news about that. But as far as this being a revenge game, he says that's not there. In fact, he spent last night having dinner with 5 members of the BC Lions, including Lucky Whitehead, Josh Woods, Dominic Rhymes, and others. And he said at that time, he says, look, I'm going to get 2 touchdowns in this game. Josh Wood said to him, no, I don't think so. We never got to tackle you in practice. We're going to do it tonight.
And Farhan, yeah, he did say that. Business is business, and not holding a grudge, but you know this game's going to mean a lot to him. And hit over 100 yards rushing last week against Edmonton, and he's off to a good start here. The ex-Lion against that Lions defense and some friends, and the D, and a gain of 14 for James Butler.
Yeah, and I can elaborate on what Farhan was talking about when it comes to practice, because you're not ever allowed to tackle anybody or bring them to the ground. I mean, you don't even do that in training camp anymore for player safety reasons and things like that. So, it's always come down to that, the play when you're running offense, and Butler going against his own teammates saying, yeah, I would have beat you here, and them saying, wait. Yeah, I'm tackling you right on this spot. Now we'll see.
He did say he's glad he doesn't have to go up against Jameer Thurman in game action anymore. His teammate now in Hamilton. And Powell is throwing, completing to a wide open Duke Williams, who gets it up across the 40, and another first down after a pickup of 11 yards for Williams.
Well, and James Butler is good at a couple things that he doesn't get much credit for here. This is blocking and helping out on Matthew Betts on the protections, and just stepping out and getting a nice chip to allow Taylor Powell to throw it over the middle to Duke there. But he also catches the ball to the backfield as well, or better than any tailback in the league.
Williams comes in leading the way in receiving yards for the Ticats. Over 460 to start the game. They try a draw here to Butler. Nearly tackled there, but he ends up progressing. TJ Lee was in there, but just couldn't hang on to his old teammate as Butler picks up 9 more.
Well, they get Woody Barron back in the defensive line, who played defensive tackle. Betts has 11 sacks. That leads the Canadian Football League. And happy to have Barron back in the middle. Ben Hladek, we mentioned 50 defensive tackles coming in. That's on pace for 90 on the season. Their leader back there, and I always want to circle him every few games, is TJ Lee, who had a chance to catch Butler, his former teammate, in the backfield there, and missed him.
And instead, Butler got 9. 2nd and 1, and Taylor Powell. And back to Butler, and he does pick up the yard. And Ben Hladek, their good young middle linebacker, product of UBC, is the one that makes the tackle. But the sticks move again for Hamilton near midfield.
Yeah, that's a marriage right there that we're going to see a ton tonight. Ben Hladek, the middle linebacker, number 46 out of UBC, stepping up to try and fill the hole and scrape to the hole and stop or limit James Butler. I'm not sure you can stop the good backs in the league, but you try to limit their production.
Up to the 53 for Taylor Powell in his 4th CFL start. Still looking for his first win, and back to Butler. Left side, Butler. Oh, he gets inside the 50. Another good game. Butler is running well against his old club. Goes to another 10-yard pickup for James Butler.
Well, last week we mentioned, another 100-yard game, couple in the season for Butler, and was 114 yards in that game. That's on 14 carries. That's 8-yard average. I mean, he is just sort of hitting his stride right now. Not surprised at all that OC Scott Milanovic is feeding him the rock.
And that is just fine with Butler. He'd love to see Hamilton run more. He wants more opportunities. And he's getting some right now on this possession. A 2nd and inches back to number 9. He doesn't get much. See where they spot it. Coming in, Josh Banks. Take him down, but he just needed inches. Looks like another first down for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Yes, they do.
It was right at the marker, so yeah, it's a new set.
This was last week, and a good response drive after Edmond had taken the lead by Butler. As he had, as Suits talked about, 14 carries for 114 yards, some big runs, and a touchdown there early in the 2nd quarter, as for a while Hamilton was keeping pace. He has 5 carries for 37 yards, another first down at the 46 of BC. Impressive drive here by Hamilton. Back to Butler. He keeps going to work, pushing, and finally taken down.
Well, the boys up front are giving him that first, 4 or 5 yards at the line of scrimmage. Butler in the backfield here, and take a look at some of the great blocking up front. You get on that 2nd level. Now you've tied up the middle linebacker right here. That's Ben Hladek. He can't scrape because you got to the 2nd level offensively as an old lineman. You get into the secondary. You get number 9 in the secondary. He'll do some damage.
Yeah, he's focused. Quincy Moget took him down. That's one of his friends he was looking forward to seeing. Saw him there.
There you go.
Sean Thomas Erlington. That is his first touch other than special teams, his first touch on offense this season, and not much doing there for the veteran Ticat running back.
Well, how many plays in a row did they hand the ball off to James Butler starting in their own end, and he just needed a break. He just needed to catch his wind. And Sean Thomas Erlington, who by the way created that fumble that wasn't a fumble.
He had punched it out, and it still was BC ball, but Hamilton's got something going here. The 9th play of the drive is coming up after that loss of 3 yards. 2nd and long, Taylor Powell. So a passing situation here after a whole lot of running. As he sets up with time, gets rid of it, and it is in the hands of Sean Thomas Erlington, who dives down inside the 20 and close to, if not another first down it is for this Hamilton offense still on the move.
Yeah, this is what we talk about with sort of the maturity and the work ethic and the study habits of a young Taylor Powell to, in 2nd and long, it's easy to get tempted to try and force that intermediate over the middle 15-20 yard throw. He just took the back out of the backfield, and that was Thomas Erlington. Well short when he caught the ball, turned and got it on his own.
So that was his first reception of the season. He started the year on the injured list. And over 6 minutes have gone by on this Hamilton drive inside the 20. Back to Butler. Back in the game after a little rest and trying to back in for a couple of yards, but the Lions up front. Ben Hladek in on the tackle again there for BC. As the clock ticks down, final play of the opening quarter coming up. A quick quarter, especially with this clock-killing possession by the Ticats.
Well, I think if you're the Ticats who come in, just 3 wins on the season so far, and you're on the road against a very good team, you want to keep it close, keep it a 1-possession game or tied. They'd be happy with it. Quarter number 1 and this offensive drive.
See what they can do with it on the final play of quarter number 1. Down inside the 19 and a 2nd and 9 for Powell. He steps up. And he finds open receiver to the right for another first down inside the 5 now. Keandre Smith. First catch of the game, and quarter 2 will begin with a 1st and goal for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who have demonstrated, yes, indeed, they can move the football against this excellent BC Lions defense. Impressive drive, Hamilton. Keandre Smith with the ball, and they're knocking on the door as the next 15 minutes is set to begin. Don't judge this by the score. This is an interesting game in a fast first quarter, and you look at the numbers, Suits, for the Ticats. A lot of this made possible by a defining defensive play earlier on.
Yeah, Ted Laurent with the big stop, really, setting the tone defensively, and then Hamilton with this, so far 7 first downs of the 8 on this drive. It's just their second possession. But when you saw those stats, I think you're going to be, if you're a Hamilton fan, excited about the balance in the offense. 55 yards rushing, 55 yards passing, and Taylor Powell, when he scrambled on that last play to convert here for another new set of downs, he scrambled with his eyes up, found a receiver, showed great poise.
And Scott Milanovich there on the left, the new offensive coordinator in his second game back as a coach in the CFL, the OC, and it's 1st and goal for Taylor Powell. 12th play of this drive for the Ticats. More Butler. 3, 2, 1. No. Denied the goal line. It'll be 2nd and goal, but Butler got close, and that Lions defense has been getting a steady diet of their old teammate in this one so far.
Yeah, Butler thought about bouncing this, I think. It looked like when he first got this handoff, he looked like he wanted to bounce it and take it outside. That lane was cut off by Sione Tahema, the defensive end. He stepped up, had his contained responsibilities there. I think maybe got some help from the secondary, and then Butler cut inside.
Second chance to get it in, and they do. Butler takes the shotgun. A flag does come out. Butler got into the end zone, dove over the top, took the ball in a direct snap, and let's see what the flag is.
Well, already in
Offside. Defensive line, BC. That penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Already in just one quarter, I would call it a successful return for James Butler.
Has it ever been so far?
The Butler drive, and watch number 9, direct snap and up over the top, Superman style.
On Superman night here at Save on Foods Field at BC Place. Look at that touchdown by James Butler and how much that must mean to him against his old team.
And how about that vertical? He went over the O-line.
12 plays, 94 yards in 7.5 minutes. Took half a quarter. Here's Mark Leggio for the point after try put down by Bedford. And it is up and through. And a 7-point Ticat lead. James Butler, 2 years a BC Lion, leaves as a free agent with Hamilton, and he's fired up, and this is why.
Well, usually you see the offensive and defensive line kind of submerged, trying to get low leverage, and most of them were still standing up, and Butler went up over top of offensive linemen that are standing almost straight upright. You can see how high he elevated to get up and cross the plane.
He had over 50 yards rushing in that first quarter. Caps it off early second with the touchdown. So, a 200-yard pace against your old team, and an excellent defense that had only allowed 1 touchdown here at BC Place all season. That's number 2 allowed by the Lions.
The Lions have been dominant at home. I mean, absolutely dominant this year at home, and their defense, as you mentioned, over 50 possessions in 4 games and had given up 1 touchdown. That's the second here at home.
And that's the 14th touchdown scored by Hamilton only this season, fewest in the Canadian Football League. What a big one it is. Off the kickoff now, and the Ticats have the Lions in a hole. Terry Williams across the 30, and he is taken down at the 35. So Vernon Adams is 4 for 5 in this game. He just hasn't had much action right now because of that long drive by Hamilton.
Yeah, but when you look at the touchdown interception ratio the last couple of games, you look at the yardage the last couple of games, this is an explosive offense. He has been on point with his accuracy. So in the blink of an eye, this team can turn around and make a big play.
He's certainly capable. We saw that at Mosaic last week. What a game. And we've been seeing that this week, too, with a couple of crazy games so far in Week 12. Heading into this one from the BC 35 and a 1st and 10, 4 receivers to the right. Adams looks to the left, and he completes it there to Taquan Mizell, who heads out of bounds after a gain of 8, so a 2nd and short coming up.
Had Kyle Wilson in one-on-one, and he was a little late getting through the rubs and picks. So he got a little bit outside leverage for Mizell and hits him to execute real good production on 1st down.
2nd and 2. And back to Mizell. Looks like he has a couple of yards there. Yes, enough for a 1st down for BC and a gain of 3.
He's got some shake, doesn't he? I mean, Taquan Mizell in the hole. He was one-on-one again with Kyle Wilson, this time in the run game. And watch 25, a little shake and bake right there. Suck. I saw Wilson turn around and go, man, that was a good one.
So the inside toss and the sweep there to Alexander Hollins. And another good pickup for the Lions, close to another 1st down, about 9 more yards for BC.
And enjoying the play calling by both of these OCs. Jordan Maksimic, the offensive coordinator for the Lions, mixing things up, getting Mizell involved in this drive. Little fly sweep there to Hollins. The key here for offensive coordinators is just start to get the front 7 thinking about one thing and then switch it up on them out of the same formation.
The last time the Lions were in short yardage with Dominic Davis, they were stopped by Ted Laurent. And they do a great job again, only needed to get to the Hamilton 54. So it's close again. My goodness, the Ticats defense up front has been really stingy in those situations.
Well, it's a good group. I mean, Casey Sales, Ted Laurent, Dylan Winback. I mean, like that's great interior defensive line. Laurent involved again.
Now that was a 2nd down, of course, so it is 3rd and short. But no doubt BC mindful now of what Hamilton's been doing in these situations. And again, first time they had him stop, but then the 2nd effort by Davis is enough to lunge forward and, yes, get the 1st down. But Hamilton up front, they're not making it easy.
Well, keep that in mind as this game goes on, because will it change Jordan Maksimic and Rick Campbell's decision if, say, they're on the 1-yard line on 3rd down, or if they have another short yardage in their own end? Does it change your play calling when the defense is playing so tough in the middle?
It's a good point. See if that situation arises at a critical point in this game. The Ticats leading by 7. The Lions with the ball in Hamilton territory at their 53 and a 1st down now. 2nd quarter. Play fake. And it's complete there, too, to Justin McInnes. Slot back on the receiving end and another 9-yard pickup. Another 2nd and short coming up here for BC.
Playing for Dominic Rhymes, and Dominic Rhymes is on the 6th game. Doesn't mean he has to stay on the 6th game. He could come back early, but
they just go with tempo. They're working quickly as Adams stays in and does get the 1st down.
Does get the 1st, but Rick Campbell was telling us when it came to Dominic Rhymes that he just wanted to, a little short-term pain for long-term gain and let him get his body completely back. And just think about this receiving core when you throw Dominic Rhymes back in it.
That's crazy. So much talent with Hollins and Lucky Whitehead, of course, Keon Hatcher and McInnes and Katoy. And, yeah, you add Rhymes, who is still their leader with 5 touchdown receptions. But, yes, bothered by a nagging knee injury and not in this one again today. So they're going to bring the sticks in now. As you were wondering what they would do differently in short yardage, and that time they went tempo and Adams stayed in.
Exactly. Does it change the play calling? Do you change formations? Just enough.
By the nose of the ball, it's enough.
It says something about Justin McInnes, too, that they're not trying to rush Dominic Rhymes back in the lineup, to say they really feel comfortable with a guy who had a tremendous camp for the BC Lions. And McInnes hasn't been asked to make a lot of big plays, but when he has been asked, he's come up with them.
Came over as a free agent from Saskatchewan, starting his career there. So 1st and 10 now, by the nose of the ball for BC. Down 7. as Adams rolls to his right and tosses it off to Mizell. And moving in, Tunde Adeleke is right there with him and escorts him out of bounds for a short gain.
Yeah, a little sort of point guard kind of play from Vernon Adams to get outside. He's got Mizell. He only really had one receiver to that side of the field, and he was running, I think it was Holland's running a really deep comeback out type of route. So he dumps it off there to Mizell. Little one-hand catch routine. Both these tailbacks catch the ball nicely out of the backfield.
But it is only a gain of 1. It's a 2nd and 9 this time coming up for BC. They've had a lot of 2nd and short in this drive. So Adams out of the shotgun, throwing to the right, and no, intended receiver is Hatcher. Kenneth George is there, but it sails out of bounds. And now with the Lions scrimmaging at the 42 of the Ticats, Sean White and the field goal team will come on to see if they can get BC's first point of this game.
Well, he's been money. I mean, 23 in a row for Sean White, who also works for the fire departments. He's taken a little leave over the last little bit to
Speaking of
focus,
superheroes.
to focus on football, but he will, when he retires from the game, go right back to the fire department. And hey, we want a huge shout out to all the firefighters in this province that are fighting the wildfires in Kelowna and the Okanagan.
A 49-yard attempt, and the streak is over. He had made, as you mentioned, 23 straight. Tyreek McAllister bringing it out and is finally taken down shy of the 20s. So Sean White, who is the most accurate field goal kicker in the CFL so far this season.
He's human. I guess
he's human after all, I guess. Now 28 of 30. So the Ticats hang on to their 7-point lead. Here at Save-On Foods Field at BC Place, the Ticats have the ball for their 3rd possession only of this game, because the last one went 7.5 minutes for a touchdown. Taylor Powell, and he dumps it off to you-know-who, James Butler, who's been the busiest man on the field, and a pickup of 14 more yards, that time as a receiver. But what a game Butler's been having so far. Yeah,
and another extension of the play calling and how to get him the football, whether it's out of the backfield between the tackles, seen a little bit of quick pitch action, and now a little throw to the flat to get him out there in space.
He has 70 total yards so far in this game, and we're not quite halfway through the 2nd quarter. First down, faking a toss to Butler, rolling out to the right, throwing on the move. It's caught 2 for another first down. Keandre Smith coming in for it for his 2nd catch of this game.
Well, you get the tailback going. Once you get the tailback going in Butler, then play action really matters. See that little fake to the pitch and out and around, you get lots of time to throw the ball, and Taylor Powell puts it right on him on the sideline. Nice catch by Smith coming back.
Keandre Smith in his 2nd year at Guelph. And another first down for this impressive Ticats offense, but this time a wall is awaiting James Butler. Well, for Rick Campbell, home has been great, hasn't it?
Well, he must be surprised by this. He's going, guys, we don't do this at home this year. 4 games at home, blowing teams out by 19 points. That was the only touchdown coming into tonight. There's been another one. There's 2, and that's now 59 possessions. But you almost feel like the defense, to switch this momentum really quickly, has got to make a big play here, like a takeaway.
It's a 2nd and 9 now at the Hamilton 47 for Taylor Powell. Has time, can't find anyone, and he finally gets rid of it and completes it to Tyreek McAllister. In as a slot back, and better noted so far young in his CFL career as a great returner too, but they keep moving. It's a gain of 16.
Great conversation about Tyler Powell and how, you know, he's, even when he was in the 3rd spot on the depth chart, he was often the first guy in the room and trying to find the video and trying to find the games and learning from Bo and learning from Matthew Schultz. It's showing. He's showing great poise against a very good defense.
So down to the 47. Back to Butler. Another big hole, James Butler. TJ Lee takes him down at the BC 50. 18 more yards for the Ticat running back who is having himself a game.
You know who's loving this? Guys like Brandon Revenberg up front. They are just blowing back the defensive front seven, getting big on big up front, and even getting an offensive lineman to the next level to spring their tailback.
It's a good point by you. They are winning the battle along the line of scrimmage so far this game. And that's a beleaguered Ticat offensive line. They've taken a lot of heat. But time there for Powell, and just a bit too far for his intended receiver, Duke Williams. That's inside the BC 15.
You know, this is where the type of game that an offensive lineman, you would know this, Rod, former big man up front. You know that these guys just love to get, you know, a little bit of white knuckle down there and lean into, go ahead and attack this defense. This defense has been great against the pass with Matthew Betts and Sione Tahema and McCombo flying around. You start running the ball on them, you're attacking a strength.
Now, old linemen love to run the football. Passing here on a 2nd and 10 at the BC 31, wide open, Keandre Smith. Second catch of the drive, third catch of this game, and he picks up another first down. Two very impressive drives for this Ticats offense. This one continues.
And former 4th-round pick out of Guelph, only been targeted 29 times coming into this game, but I'm just marveling a little bit at just how in just his 4th start, Taylor Powell, when he has been throwing the ball, has shown this great composure. He's getting some time. His offensive line is giving him that time to look at his 2nd and 3rd choice, but it's good.
He's 8 for 10. They tried again. That time, Lions defense stiffens up, and Butler's barely able to make it back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, the way that Ryan Phillips can try and put an end to this momentum, Hamilton offensively, is to start to run blitz. In run blitz, it means you could bring the secondary up and fill a gap, or you can bring your linebackers close to the line of scrimmage and fill gaps. Either way, though, you become susceptible to the play action fake.
Let's see what they do now in a 2nd and 10 at the BC 20. Their second trip into the red zone, the score zone. Powell again with, he had some time if he could have stepped up. He tripped up and he lost 5. And Matthew Betts, sack number 12. He'll get the credit for that. The sack leader in the CFL. That's another.
Well, just, and right when I say that, Ryan Phillips says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do 3-man pressure, and I'm going to drop everybody else in this passing down and see if one of my 3 guys can get there. The 4th is added in, and that's the little trick. Number 12.
12th sack for Betts, but the Ticats drive enough to get into field goal range. An attempt coming up now with the 3-minute warning.
Tonight in Vancouver, I am the juggling princess. Stiegel?
We have the man of steel, but I'm the man of Stiegel, Coach.
Red Rum Bone Crusher!
And I am the nail file.
What? Is the best you come up with?
They are our superheroes. All with different skill sets, shall we say.
Superpowers? Different superpowers?
That's right. And their thoughts on this one coming up to the half. Kate in the panel. Here's Mark Leggio. Had a rough week last week at home against Edmonton, where he went only 1 for 4 and missed an extra point. This one set up 32 yards away and right down the middle to add to the Hamilton lead. Leggio puts that through. Orlando Steinauer had said about his kicker, just get that one kick, get the confidence back, and just a beautiful day in Vancouver. 10-0 Ticats lead. For Vernon Adams, it's not just about the play on the field, but the leadership off of it. Let's go back to Farhan.
Yeah, guys, you look at that 4th quarter that VA turned in last week in Regina on an injured leg. Many believe that's the best football he's ever played. But when you talk to Rick Campbell, he doesn't want to talk about that. He talks about the leadership he's shown throughout the building. And we'll take you to a moment in the final moments of that game where Kent Perkins had a tough one. A lot of sacks, giving up a lot of penalties. And there's Adams consoling him. Immediately after the game, he said 2 of the sacks were his fault. The slow start offensively, his fault. Even the Keon Hatcher drop in the end zone on what could have been a go-ahead touchdown. He blamed himself for not putting it on him, and I asked him about that. He said, you know, I remember the 6-interception game against Toronto, and the respect and support my team gave me meant everything to me. He was in tears. He knows how they empowered him. He wants to do that for others.
It's a great example of that, Farhan. You mentioned it. I mean, the support he's gotten, but the support he's given out, and he completes another pass there, too, for 26 yards to Alexander Hollins, and they're suddenly in Ticat territory, down 10 points.
Yeah, and that's what good teams do. They back each other. Everybody's going to have that game. I mean, Zach Collaros threw 2 pick-sixes 2 nights ago, and they won the game because the team rallied around him.
So down to the Hamilton 44. It has been stunning based on expectation and how good BC's been at home. See the Lions trailing by 10. But Hamilton has been strong offensively, defensively too. As Mason Bennett in there, among others, Simone Lawrence and Dylan Wynn too, to get the sack. And Vernon Adams.
Yeah, let's take a look at that nice deep out by Hollins here. Just an outside stem and then down the rail to out and up. And then we go back to the very next play, put him in second and extra yards. Right here, Simone Lawrence on a blitz, comes around the edge and flushes Vernon Adams up into the pocket.
Veteran Simone Lawrence in his 12th season. And that one incomplete into some traffic there and intended for Hatcher. You know, Lawrence, I mean, he had a slow start in terms of tackles, but he's been picking up in that department too the last couple of games.
Yeah, we asked Coach Steinauer about the play of Simone Lawrence, and just, you know, not to say that he's playing poorly, just to see, you know, when you go through the video and you're grading guys, how's he looking? And he said he's still bringing that great leadership. He understands game situations as good or better than any player on the field, and still leading the group, even if the numbers are a little bit down.
This is the first punt of the game for BC's Stefan Flintoft. A shorter one, rolling to McAllister at the Hamilton 5 after a 43-yarder, and he gets up across the 20. 1:55 on the clock. Taylor Powell, 8 for 10 for 110 yards, and his team has a 10-point lead. Taylor Powell has only thrown 1 touchdown pass in Edmonton when he came in for Matthew Schultz in his first ever CFL pass, but this is what he's done in his first 3 starts.
Well, as a starter, yeah, the Edmonton game you're talking about was before these 3 and came in relief, but you know, I think what he's done is he eliminated mistakes as he's grown here.
Shown a lot of poise that way. He's actually, if you go back, 28 for his last 36 passes, and they go to the ground, and Butler, and he was wrapped up there coming in by Matthew Betts, but still managed to pick up a few more yards.
You know, that's what I mean about Taylor Powell. Like, he threw 2 picks in the start against Montreal, and then in the start last week against Edmonton, eliminated the interceptions. Didn't throw a touchdown, but eliminated the interceptions. Now he's got the run game going, and their play-action game develops off of that. That's really going to help a young guy. So that's the goal for the Lions, and that's what they'll talk about at halftime. Get Taylor Powell, this young guy, in second and long.
And they've had a hard time doing that because of their old friend James Butler. But it is second and long now, and Powell is sacked again. Second time of this game, this time coming in. It is linebacker Bo Lacombo picking up his 3rd sack of the season.
And it gives that play right there gives Vernon Adams a chance here with probably, what, about 45 seconds after it's all said and done to get in field goal range. And you start to wonder, is Lacombo or linebackers going to start to get closer to the line of scrimmage as this game goes on if James Butler keeps having the success he's had so far in this first half?
Said the Lions needed that success in second and long, and they just got it. First 2 and out for Hamilton in this game. And it's Corey Vedvik at the Ticat 6. 1:09 on the clock. The Lions still have time to get some points on, and they nearly had a chance there. So close to blocking that punt. But it does roll across midfield for Terry Williams. It ends up being a 37-yarder, but that was awfully close and down near the Ticat end zone.
I'm wondering if they got a piece of it. I mean, Adrian Green coming through. It looked like 23 BC, and did he get a little piece of that because it came off the foot a little unorthodox? Well, maybe not. Vedvik trying to avoid the hit, changed the kick trajectory.
And Green did a good job angling by him to make sure he didn't take a penalty there, and nearly had the block. But lots of time, just under a minute for Adams. That's hit at the line of scrimmage and knocked down, falls incomplete.
It's one the quarterback doesn't really account for. Got his eyes downfield. But it was Casey Sales. Already has a sack tonight. Now he gets a knockdown right at the line, put Vernon Adams in 2nd and long. And fighting the double team, get that big right arm up there.
Casey Sales, he had a game-saving knockdown a few weeks ago against the Ottawa Red Blacks. Forcing 2nd and 10 now. 3-man rush. They drop back, and it's complete to Hatcher. Down around first down yardage with 46 seconds on the clock. It is indeed a gain of 11 for Hatcher.
Nice comeback route. Vernon Adams has to throw from deep in the pocket. Combo got a good start on the edge and was right in his, looked like he was in his throwing lane. Broxton held him off just long enough that VA could get it out there.
In long field goal range right now at the 41. 37 seconds. Oh, Simone Lawrence nearly got to Adams. Deep ball. And lots of coverage there for the Ticats. And as that one falls incomplete, and we do have 2nd down coming up. Holland's the intended receiver.
Yeah, Hollins is going to end up taking this post move so hard on the stem inside that he involves the safety Katsatonis to come all the way across and help out on that corner route.
So half a minute to go. The Lions at the very least have a good shot at having something to show for this last minute drive. Pressure coming, gets it away, it's incomplete. So it will be a longer field. Well, a flag comes out now after the play was blown dead.
Malik Carney got pulled to the ground, or it may have been Congo. Steinauer is given the option, so this penalty is going against the BC Lions. And they're going
holding BC, number 65. It's 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
That's a big penalty.
Yeah, because it takes them out of field goal range. You know, and even though you're giving VA down over,
To be 2nd and 20 BC.
So
now they need, sorry, Rod, they need 12 to get back into comfortable Sean White field goal range.
White saw his streak end at 23 straight earlier on a field goal try, a longer one, and this would be.
Clearly, I jinxed him on that one, by the way.
The scrimmage from the 51, just trying to get closer, and they do. And this will be a low 40s attempt coming up for Sean White. Not a first down, but the veteran kicker, who one of the most accurate in the history of the CFL, will come on and try again.
Yeah, Keon Hatcher just getting it done out there. He just, he knows what the group needs as well. They just need to get Sean White in field goal range. And that pass right there gets it done. Makeable, comfortable 42-yard.
In his 15th season, ageless kicker out of the Surrey Rams, and now 28 for 30 after going 0 for 1 in this game earlier. But this one to be spotted 42 yards out, and the final play, it appears, of the first half to get the Lions on the board. Sean White puts it through. Zeros on the clock and 3 on the board for the BC Lions. Nonetheless, surprising turn of events in this first half, the way Hamilton really on both sides of the ball has played.
Yeah, and Sean White back on track. He played his slice there. You can see it coming up. But you're right. I mean, that's, if you're the Hamilton Tiger Cats, that's coming into BC, really good football team, the way they played and dominant at home. That's a good half by Hamilton.
Great half by James Butler, the former Lion, against his old team. Here he is now with Farhan Lalji.
You said this wasn't a grudge match. I don't believe you.
Nah, man, give out to my O-line and my receivers blocking downfield, for sure. It's those guys.
I'm sure it is, but also when you look at the fact you've had Scott Milanovich as an offensive coordinator for just 2 weeks now, are you surprised at how many different ways they've been able to get you the ball?
Yeah, you know, for sure. But for me, it's always whatever opportunities I get, I just try to maximize the best I can.
You guys have had some of these leads and some early success. You haven't been able to sustain it. What needs to happen here?
Finish. 30 minutes, man. 30 minutes. We got to finish this game. This is a great team we're playing. They're at home. We just got to finish. We got to keep executing. We got to keep playing complementary football in all 3 phases and finish.
Thanks for this.
Thank you.
The lowest scoring half of the season for the BC Lions, Kate.
Farhan, exactly how we predicted it. 10-3 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats to the BC Lions. And my goodness, none of us saw that coming. Alongside Dave Naylor, Jim Barker, Milt Stiegel. Before the game, and we know it's superhero night, we said the Hamilton Tiger Cats need a superhero. If they're going to win this game, James Butler has been, and he is taking it to his former team.
You know, when the Hamilton Tiger Cats signed James Butler in the offseason, it's been a few years since this team has had a feature back, like a guy that they could feed the ball to. That's what we thought this offense was going to be built around, and it really hasn't happened. You look at the last 3 games under Tommy Condell, he got 8, 6, and 9 carries. He had 14 for 114 last week, and this game, he is the workhorse. 13 for 75. On this drive, you see the highlights of here. They ran a 13-play drive for a touchdown. At one point, 7 of 8 plays were either runs or passes to James Butler. Of course, he takes this one. 9 of the 13 plays, this was play number 9, touch number 9 for him on that touchdown drive. Not only is that being efficient and helping Hamilton on the offense, but it's limited the possessions, Jim, for the BC Lions, who've had the ball just 5 times in the first half.
Well, that's how you beat a team like BC at home, is you hold on to the football. You don't let their quarterback go out and make plays. 13-play drives will do that. To do that, you have to have a great running game, which again, he's given them. But the young quarterback, Taylor Powell, second and long, the first second and long, he throws a 15-yard completion in the pocket. Here you just get the ball quickly out to Butler. Just a quick get your confidence first down. Now he's going to run a bootleg on the run, throw a strike, another first down. Now what you're going to see him is move in the pocket, and he's going to throw from different arm angles. That's just a beautiful toss there. And right here, again, a little bit of a side flip to Keandre. So huge progress for Taylor Powell in this game. He's playing like a veteran quarterback. He's not making stupid mistakes. He's taking sacks, which can be frustrating, but he's also not giving them the ball in field position. This is how you beat a team on the road that you're 10-point underdogs to, Milt.
Yeah, 10-point underdogs. Came in this game 10-point underdogs, going against a team that averaged 26 points a game, one of the most exciting players in Vernon Adams, and they're up 10-3. And how does that happen? Well, there's a few ways. First of all, 3rd and 1. You're moving the ball down the field, you're opening drive, and you can't get this 3rd and 1. I know it's frustrating. You got to find a way to do that. Vernon Adams usually make this throw 9 out of 10 times. This is the one time he misses. And then Sean White, one of the best kickers in CFL history. He's been 28 of 29 this year, misses a field goal. So you can't let up. Yes, you are a favorite. Yes, you're a heavenly favorite. Yes, you are better than the team. But if you allow these mistakes to happen and continue to happen, these Hamilton Tiger Cats get some momentum. James Butler starts feeling himself, turns into a superhero. This is what can happen to you. So Vernon Adams, these BC Lions, Ryan Phillips, that defense, they better come out and play hard in the second half.
And this is what you guys said, too. This is the second game we've seen the BC defense be a little bit vulnerable and so dominating at the beginning of the year. And then
they were totally out-physicaled in that first half. The Hamilton Tiger Cats out-physicaled the BC Lions.
We know that's one of your keys.
He likes that out-physical stuff.
When teams out-physical stuff. Great debate coming up after the break. A 7-point lead for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
The ex-Lion against that Lions defense and some friends. Second chance to get it in, and they do.
Up over the top, Superman style.
Another big hole, James Butler. And Matthew Betts, sack number 12. Powell is sacked again. Second time in this game.
It has been oh so long, 22 home games to be exact. 2019, the last time Edmonton won a football game at Commonwealth Stadium. Can they do it tomorrow? It's the Red Blacks taking on the Elks. You can see it 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. I'm not going to be here, so if it ends up happening, clearly I was the cause of it. This is a great debate that we came up with before we came on set today, and it's if you were starting a CFL franchise, who would be your starting quarterback? Would it be number 1, Dustin Crum, or number 2, Trey Ford? Your choice, Milt Stegall.
Oh, that's tough.
It is.
It's like picking which one of my sons I love the best. Since I have to pick one, I'm gonna go with Crum. I'm gonna go with Crum. This time next year, I may say Trey, but right now I'm going to go with Crum. I think he has more upside right now, Coach.
Well, and he's shown a little more right now because he's played a little more.
Right. Right.
He's shown an ability to lead a team and things. I think I'm going to take Trey Ford and maybe a bit of a gamble because he just doesn't have a good enough body of work yet.
Right.
But he's got the arm strength. He's got that quickness and
athleticism.
Unstoppable in the open field. And the advantages of having a Canadian starting quarterback they're huge. And so I would take my chances in an expansion franchise with Trey Ford.
Yeah, I like both these guys, and they're both dual threat quarterbacks. Different style, but they both can do it with their legs. They both can do it through the air. I'm going to say Dustin Crum just because of how competitive he's kept Ottawa every week. Milt, I know that being close doesn't count, but I think when you're in the standings for your team, it doesn't. But when you're evaluating a quarterback and his ability to bring his team back, a young team back in games, that for me does matter. For
I actually don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. No. And I don't feel bad I didn't pick Trey Ford, but I could have, but I just felt Dustin Crum is just right now just a little bit above him.
What a great thing to think about going into that game tomorrow of, wow, what if I was in an expansion? Which one of these two guys do I want?
I'm with you. I'll take Trey Ford.
Playing against each other.
Hey, if you end up as a GM in Halifax,
I was going to say, this guy, I feel like there's an expansion team. Someone's selling himself right now. All right, we got stats coming up right after this. Time now for stats with the nail file.
Rushing yards for the BC Lions, just 877 on the back of James Butler back in BC for the first time, just like we imagined it. Twice as many first downs, Kate, as for the Ticats as the BC Lions.
You really filed down those numbers, Dave. Well done. BC Lions. They got 3 at the end of the quarter to make it a 7-point game. Can the Tiger Cats keep it rolling? We will get you back to BC right after this.
Can I get a pedicure?
Halftime in BC, where the Lions are used to dominating at home, but this is a different story so far. 10-3 Tiger Cats. Lions with some work to do. Here's head coach Rick Campbell with Farhan Lalji.
I'm sure both sides of the ball give some cause for concern. They get the ball first, so let me ask you about your defense and how you contain James Butler.
Yeah, we were getting pushed around up front. I know our guys are, they're ready for the challenge in the second half. We got to pick our energy level up as a team. That's one of the things I like about working with these guys is they play with great energy, and we were flat in the first half, and we're looking to come out with better energy, and we got to be stouter up front.
Yeah, their defensive line also was able to have some success. What can you do to give Vernon some time to find receivers?
Yeah, we're going to have to mix up our play calling. We got to run the ball, screens, whatever it is, mix it up. But like I said, we need to play with more tempo too on offense. We're too slow in and out of the huddle.
Thanks, Rick.
Okay.
And to his point, James Butler in that first half has been the story, but he said it and he's right. The offensive line in front of him has given him some holes to run through.
I'll tell you what, the nominee for outstanding halftime interview by a coach, I'll nominate Rick Campbell. That was basically saying it like it is.
Nice and direct. His team has some work to do, and the Ticats, Sean Thomas Earlington, got his first catch and run this season earlier on, and with the kick return. So James Butler, and 13 carries, 75 yards, and taking a direct snap and lunging over for a touchdown.
Yeah, give credit to his offensive line. They played great in the first half. Played more physical, as the panel said, and also Coach Campbell basically saying we're getting pushed around on the O-line and in the trenches, and James Butler, you give him a little space in there, and he'll play like he's got a case.
Offside. Defense.
There's Butler. As Farhan said to him, looks like a grudge match, even though he says it's not. But that's complete there to Tim White on the receiving end, and that is Tim White's first catch, the leading receiver for the Ticats coming into this game. Had a run earlier, but a gain of 7 yards.
And they used DeAndre Smith in the first half a ton. He got a few targets his direction, but again, with the run game going so well, Scott Milanovic just stuck with that great balance, so that's less throws for Taylor Powell.
And this is a Hamilton team historically, certainly over the last 10 years, going back to the Kent Austin days, did not run the football an awful lot. And they are running it a lot in this game so far. Faking it that time, though, and through the air to White again. And that is close to a first down. They had to get up to the 41. That should indeed be a first down for the Ticats on this opening possession of the second half.
You know, when you have that run game going, look what it does to a guy like Matthew Betts, who is leading the league in sacks here. Now he is well aware of number 9. He goes down with him. He doesn't get in any pass rush mode. He doesn't get his hands up. He's thinking more about James Butler than he is about getting to the quarterback on that last play.
What the running game can do for you. 4 to the left. It goes off to White again. Third straight play to Tim White, but that time it's for a loss of a couple of yards, and a second and long coming up here now for Taylor Powell and the Ticats.
Well, and that play there, I'm not surprised to see a couple bubble screens in the second half from Hamilton, because if the Lion linebackers are going to hug the line of scrimmage to try and help with stopping James Butler, you've got them all bottled up in that little space. You get it outside to a guy like Tyreek McAllister or Terry Godwin, he only has to beat one DB.
Second and 12 after the loss. Blitz is coming, gets it away. It is complete to Butler at the 50, but he is taken down there after a gain of 9, and not enough for a first down. Bo Lacombo in there to greet him and take him down.
Well, there's two ways to sort of slow down a good run game defensively, and I think Rick Campbell talked about one. We've talked about the schemes that Ryan Phillips can run, but Campbell basically cut it right down to the core, which is hustle to the ball, 12 hats to the football, play with great enthusiasm, play with great speed, don't hesitate, and make sure there's not just one guy, because Butler will make one guy miss for sure.
Corey Vedvik, last punt attempt late in the first half was nearly blocked by Adrian Green. He has lots of time now as they go back to set up a return. Good punt there by Vedvik. Won't give Terry Williams a chance as it rolls inside the 30. With an injured Ticat down, Vernon Adams gets set to go to work again.
Well, Vernon Adams Jr. in the first half of this game completed 69% of his passes, made some nice throws, and had a couple of good drives, including the opening drive of the game. But that drive halted on a third down but a 3rd and 1 in short yardage that Ted Laurent stuffed. But other than that, I can think of only one sort of off throw from Vernon Adams Jr.
Vernon Adams Jr. and steadily, you look at the top-rated quarterbacks. Zach Collaros, Chad Kelly are there, and his name as well. As they all interesting duel, and with the stats alone this CFL season, just over halfway through. So players, some of them taking a knee. The injured Ticat is linebacker Kyle Wilson on special teams in that punt coverage. Went down awkwardly and favoring the right leg, the lower right leg, but a good sign to see he is able to finally get up and walk off on his own with that obvious limp.
You know, and Vernon Adams, keep in mind again against Saskatchewan, 455 yards. That's the highest number for any quarterback in the league this year, and didn't get the win. And
which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it really is. And we asked him about it. I said, how many times have you thrown for 455 and 3 touchdowns, not 1? He goes, I can't remember any, and that was just wild. But we're seeing that. I mean, last night's game was another great example. I mean, his offenses can explode at any second.
We've had some wild things going on offense in the previous 2 games so far in week 12, and in this one, Adams going to work to start the second half here inside his 30, and that one, it falls shy at the feet of Hollins, and so 2nd and 10 coming up.
You got a little pressure in the throwing lane off the edge there from Jonathan Congo, and I mentioned his name a couple of times because I'm watching him get a good jump in his pass rush. Him and Malik Carney off the edge have just, they're not getting home yet, but they're just distracting him a little bit. Come off those edges.
Some pressure coming. Chris Edwards coming in, but he doesn't get to Adams, who gets rid of it for a big first down to Keon Hatcher. It is complete across the Lions 50 as Adams was able to step up, and a 20-yard pass play when Chris Edwards was bearing down.
If you're a young quarterback watching this game tonight, watch Vernon Adams negotiate the pocket here and how he uses his great technique and feet. You know all those drills you run in practice where you're trying to move around the beanbags and slide up in the pocket and climb up in there? Look at his feet. Watch him just step up and miss this blitz. Eyes downfield, ball held by both hands. Tremendous fundamentals from Vernon Adams to beat the blitz.
And a gain of 25, actually, close to midfield at the 53. Adams tries to dump it off, instead goes deep, and he completes it. Down inside the 25 to Hollins. A softer pass, but deep downfield, and Hollins, their leading receiver, comes down with the ball.
So one play, he shows great fundamentals, and a second play, it's unbelievable athleticism. This is athleticism to beat the blitz and throw off schedule and sidearm on a corner route going away from you and throw it with that kind of, well, that's a 34-yard gain, and that's why, as you mentioned, Rod, he is in the conversation for MOP.
Absolutely, and the accuracy he is showing there, and we've seen that especially last couple of games against the Stamps here and last week at Mosaic. Adams has him on the move here in the second half. Down, a touchdown, complete to Hatcher. He tries to push for the first down. Tunde Adeleke pushes him out. Just shy of it. Gain of 8 yards for Keon Hatcher.
See if Keon Hatcher is engaged here now and starts to become the #1 target. That's just a zone look, and Adeleke has to drop off with the deeper routes, take away that first, and then react up to Hatcher.
Second trip to the red zone for the BC Lions. Down a touchdown. Keon Hatcher last week at 6 for 94. He's up to 80 yards receiving in this game. And we're early in the second half. And BC is pressing to tie. And that is in and out of the hands of Javon Catoy. It falls incomplete.
Talking about Keon Hatcher maybe becoming, oh, that doesn't sit well, because that was second down. So that's Vernon Adams' gut reaction, knowing that he had Catoy out in the flat, but that was a fastball, and Catoy hadn't turned in time to be able to handle it, because his catch to target ratio for Javon Catoy in the 80s, high 80s.
So Adams' frustration at himself on that pass leads to a 3rd and 2, and Sean White, who's 1 for 2. And let's make it 2 for 3 for one who comes in as the most accurate kicker in the Canadian Football League this season. Adams for Catoy, not quite. So they get a field goal instead in a 4-point Hamilton lead. Back here in Vancouver, and a little momentum swing for the Lions. Didn't get the touchdown, got the field goal to cut it to a 4-point Hamilton lead. The rookie quarterback Taylor Powell is 12 for 14. Flag coming out. James Butler, big carry, big hole, and down he takes it. Inside the BC 50, a gain of 20 more yards for Butler.
See if this counts.
Or is it coming back?
Looks like it might be against BC.
Offside, BC, number 47. That penalty is declined. First down.
I saw the linebackers for BC. Alatic up there, combo up at the closer to the line of scrimmage. They're only about 2 yards away from the line of scrimmage. Didn't matter. Just again, well blocked up front. Revenberg with a big block. Manson gets a down block to spring their back, and he picks up where he left off in the first half.
Good running by Butler, but to his own point. Good work up front by that Ticats offensive line to open some holes. Faking it to Butler, rolling right and throwing it out of bounds is Powell. Butler's up to 95 yards rushing. And another big part of Hamilton's success in this game, even with just 10 points on the board, 9 for 13 in second down conversions. Hence the long drives they've been able to put together, keep Vernon Adams Jr. and the Lions offense off the field. 2nd and 10 now. The rush 4, and looking it off to Tim White, who has the catch, keeps a foot in bounds. And a nice toss there by Powell for a 16-yard gain, and they stay on the field with another first down.
You've heard me say before, quarterbacks that throw their receiver open, and this is the case here. He had Betts. Taylor Powell had Betts in the throwing lane, close enough to him that it could be a distraction, and that time he threw his receiver open. The opposite shoulder.
White keeps a foot down with Jalen Edwards-Cooper coming in on him. And another catch for Tim White. Taylor Powell just 3 incompletions in this game so far. 1st and 10 of the Lions 34. 4-point lead. And looking for more.
You know, when, a run game is going to help any quarterback. And it doesn't matter if you're a 10-year vet or not, perennial all-star or not. But it certainly helps a young guy. I'll tell you what, though. You watch him in and out of the huddle. You watch his poise. You tell me if you're just showing up for the first time, is Taylor Powell in his 4th start or his 60th start or his 80th start? I mean, he has great command of the huddle. He's running the offense. Great composure. I'll tell you what.
He has the disposition, when you talk to him, of a veteran, of a guy who's played the game a long time, and he hasn't. And he'd be the first one to admit he has a lot of growing to do, but they don't get it off. And the first penalty for the Hamilton
Time count violation. Hamilton, number 0. It's 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Yeah, trying to get the right formation. There was a lot of movement from Ryan Phillips' group on the other side of the ball. And it looked like he was trying to call.
Timer, please reset the game clock to 7:26. 7:26 on the game clock.
As they move around, watch the veteran in Betts, Matthew Betts, saying, hey, 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 hey. They had too much time. Good job on the disguise in the back end. He goes and talks to his secondary.
Makes sacks, does a bit of coaching too. And a 2nd and 11 now. They're pushed back on the penalty at the BC 35. Over the middle and open is Duke Williams. He pushes for a first down. And that is inside the 25. Gets enough down to about the 23. And this Ticats offense, after a 12-yard gain, moving deep into Lion territory again.
Got just what they needed. And this time Taylor Powell has to kind of lean away from that crossing route throw. Now, it's not a deep throw. It's not a real difficult throw, but he got it right there to the mark. And then Duke does the rest. Who, by the way, Coach Steinauer said he's doing exactly what they brought him in to do. His numbers might not be there just yet, but they like his play.
Came in as their leading receiver in yardage. That's 2 catches now for him. Dumped off to Duke as he gets it inside the 20. Before he is taken down there by Quincy Moje. Tap on the helmet, and a 2nd down is coming up here as they are back into the red zone after a pickup of 6.
Yeah, when I say, the numbers might not be there, I mean, this is a guy that can potentially be a 1,500-yard guy.
Oh, and he was with Edmonton,
exactly.
As you recall.
So you're sort of looking at it thinking, if you're at 700 or 800 at halfway point,
right,
those are the numbers you expect out of a guy, big target who can run routes like Duke Williams.
Yeah, not on pace for 1,000, and he has been a 1,000-plus receiver in the CFL. And there's a little bit of early movement. Matthew Betts coming in to say hello to Taylor Powell before the snap of the football.
The other thing that Steinauer said about Williams was his blocking has been outstanding. And, I know that tailbacks appreciate that. Their teammates appreciate it. When you're sitting in the room and you're watching
Offside,
the video together.
BC, number 90. It's 5-yard penalty, first down.
And the little guys the receiver. He's not little, but you know, most of the receivers considered the little guys are out there getting their nose dirty. That's when the whole team goes, yeah, man, I love it. And Duke Williams has sprung a lot of big plays for Hamilton in the first half.
We've talked about the importance of blocking in the skill positions, and James Butler, one of the things, he's become a very close friend of Powell. They've talked about the friendship off the field. It's one thing he said, I got you. He's talking about not just the running game, but protecting him too when he does stay in the block. And Butler's good at that. And he flares out and he gets it. Inside the 10, the 5! James Butler waiting for confirmation. Touchdown number 2 for James Butler.
I think he got the cone. Great execution, just getting it outside as quickly as possible before the defense can react. If you bring your linebackers close to the line of scrimmage to stop the run on first down, you can flare it out, and that is a touchdown right to the cone. All you have to do is touch it with the ball, and you know James Butler knew where it was, especially in this building. He knows where it is in this building. Go get it.
This is his old home. And is he ever making himself at home in this game in his return back to BC Place? A 7-play, 70-yard drive for the impressive Hamilton Tiger Cats in this one. No let up here in the third quarter as they increase their lead. Mark Leggio in the point after try. Well, that is just good. Just tucked it in, that left upright.
You gotta keep going.
So the Lions were getting close. They got to within 4. But back come the underdog Ticats here at BC Place. James Butler. What a return.
See, all the damage that James Butler has done has been between the tackles in this game. So Lacombo right here goes inside to be in position to help with stopping that run. And then when James Butler exits the backfield so quickly and gets outside, now Lacombo is in a chase position and can't get there in time.
And the Ticats back up by 11 in this one. On the kickoff, Terry Williams on the return. He is taken down by the special teams tackles leader in the Canadian Football League. His initials are CFL. Carthel Flowers Lloyd.
Well, he's on pace to break Wade Miller, president of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who is a great special teams cover guy, break his record for tackles in a season, and that's a monster tackle.
The rookie Carthel Flowers Lloyd.
19 coming in. I don't know if that was his first tonight, but that was a big one.
Memorable one. And there's James Butler's a touchdown receiving now to add to the one rushing earlier on. Combined yardage 135. So running now, Taquan Mizell on first down, and he finds an edge to the right and a good carry on first for the guy who took over from James Butler here in BC as the feature running back.
Yeah, over 4 minutes in this quarter. Got another full quarter to play. No time, no need to panic for the BC Lions. However, you do need a little sense of urgency, and the Ticats defensively, especially in their back end, have done a nice job of taking away that big strike, the 70-yarder over the middle that they had a couple of against Saskatchewan.
They did have big plays against the Riders. You're right. Hollins and Whitehead and Hatcher too. But on the ground again, and yeah, it's close, but it does look like enough. Just needed a couple of yards, and yes, a first down for BC just over the 45.
Jordan Maximic gives Vernon Adams the instructions of the next play. Usually numbered. He looks to his wristband. His wristband has the play on it. Get the call in the huddle. 41 set, which is 4 receivers to the wide side of the field and just the one up there at the top on the backside.
Hatcher and Whitehead out wide to the left, looking short to Mizell. Taquan Mizell. He gets across the 50. Needed to get up to about the Hamilton 54. Pick up a 6, a 2nd and 4 coming up here for BC.
His star continues to rise when it comes to offensive coordinators. The work he did with Nathan Rourke last year, and then Vernon Adams when Rourke went down. People kind of forget how well Vernon played last year.
Speaking of which, we're just a few days away from the anniversary of them trading to get Vernon Adams, who'd lost his job to Trevor Harris in Montreal. And what a memorable day that's turning out to be for both Adams and the BC Lions. Looks deeper. Left side. No. Coming in is Kenneth George on the coverage of Keon Hatcher, and the punting unit will come on.
Yeah, and Vernon Adams looks to the sky because he's just off on the timing just by a split second here. Here's Hatcher on the out. Now he's got to throw it now. See how he takes another 3-4 steps and gets there a little late. Now, having said that, hit him in the hands. I'm not sure if his foot was out of bounds. It looked like it may have been.
Tyreek McAllister's back for this one inside the 15. And great coverage on special teams for number 24, the rookie Patrice Rene. Tiger Cat football with an 11-point lead. Lions linebacker Ben Hladek is from Vernon, BC. There's been a lot of concern in that area over the wildfires. With more, let's go to Farhan Lalji.
Yeah, for Ben, he certainly did spend some anxious nights with very little sleep over this past week, as a number of his friends and family were directly affected. His brother Danny lives in Kelowna, and he had to make his way back to Vernon to spend some time after he got evacuated from his home. His stepmother's family, 5 of them, also had to go from Kelowna to Vernon. Ben himself was hoping to get up to Vernon last week to watch his brother, who's a tight end at UBC, Brad, play in the Kalamalka Bowl, an exhibition game between UBC and Alberta, which was scheduled to be played in Vernon. That game got canceled. Now, eventually, everybody was able to make their way back to their homes. And for Hladek, he felt a little helpless watching it all happen. Given he's in season, he can't do much. He hopes to get involved later on after the season's over, knowing that the recovery of the area is going to take some time. 90 homes approximately were burned down, and 3,000, however, were saved.
Awful what's gone on there, and hitting very close to home for Ben Hladek. Thank you, Farhan. That pass is complete to Terry Godwin. Another completion there for Taylor Powell.
Yeah, it has been like unprecedented. I mean, the worst sort of wildfires in British Columbia history. It's just, and the firefighters are out there still working real hard to try and save those homes. And got our thoughts with all of the families that have to figure out what to do there. And there's a firefighter.
And Sean White.
Yep. Say thank you to those guys. Keep up the good work. We're thinking about you. And also, hey, good luck to Bradman, Ben Hladek's brother.
Yeah.
He said it's Bradley, but he said, hey, if you're going to mention him, say Bradman. That's what we call him. So good luck to Bradman, who's a tight end up at UBC.
At UBC, where Ben Hladek played and starred, all Canadian. There in his time in youth sports, and all BC. I mean, played in high school and provincial championship, and lost to the Philpott brothers in a game in high school, and went on to star at UBC. 2nd and 12 now. Powell runs out of trouble. Don't see him run often, but he takes a slide just shy of the 40.
A penalty too.
And a penalty flag comes out. He was sliding shy by about a yard or 2 of a first down, but got the flag. And grimacing a bit as well as he got up.
Yeah, and this, I know people will say, well, the timing is really close. And look, Taylor Powell in this play is trying to slide foot first, and he did it early. He declared, and you got to avoid any contact with the quarterback. This is something that, if you're going to err at all as an official here, you err on the side of protecting
roughing the
quarterback.
Absolutely. BC. It's 15-yard penalty.
I know
first
the Lions fans hate it because it was so close, and I hear it all the time about the narratives of, well, come on, it's football, you got to be physical, all those things. True, but we've got to protect the stars of the game. That's at the quarterback position, and if you're going to err on the side of just what happened here. Throw the flag if it's even close.
Manny Ragamba, the one coming in on Powell, who, by the way, is the 3rd quarterback the Ticats have used because of injuries to their QBs, Bo Levi Mitchell and also Matthew Schultz. So QB3, and getting his 4th start. As he hands off to Butler left side again, James Butler. As he pushes for about 4 or 5 more.
And the hope is that it changes the behavior and guys don't take those free shots. And Scott Milanovic has got a real good game plan going here You got a 12-play drive that went 94 yards, took up almost 8 minutes. You got a 10-play drive that ended in a field goal, 7-play drive that has ended in a touchdown. And in the blink of an eye, we're heading to the fourth quarter.
This game has been fast, and for no small reason, Hamilton's ability to keep that offense on the field, sustain long drives. They have 17 points on the board. That offense has had the ball for a long time. Powell, last play of the quarter, and throwing for Tim White. It is incomplete. We are, though, at quarter time, and the Ticats, underdogs as they were coming in, are still leading it. They had a touchdown. And the Lions still haven't found the end zone. They're trailing Hamilton by 11 with 15 to go. These are the numbers through 3 quarters, and the Tiger Cats, they've increased their lead to 11, but really, I think the headliner here, Suits, is their ability on offense to control this game in time of possession.
Yeah, I think it was Dave Naylor mentioned it at halftime that the Lions and Vernon Adams just haven't had a lot of possessions to get really in a rhythm or groove. So, you know, full credit to the Hamilton Tiger Cats for earning that. I mean, they're controlling the line of scrimmage, and by doing that, getting the balance in their offense in the run game with James Butler. And again, Taylor Powell looking like he's mature well beyond his years.
In his 4th CFL start, yes, he does, and that man James Butler scoring both Ticat touchdowns in this one. So BC starts the 4th quarter down, and they're about to get the ball. Punting situation here for Corey Vedvik and the Ticats. And the Lions were in a big hole last week at Mosaic, and they really charged back and closed the gap, ultimately losing by 5. But they're going to need another comeback here. Down a couple of scores as it is taken by Terry Williams, and he is taken down at about the 20. So Vernon Adams has said he's been in this situation before just last week, and it means maybe moving up tempo, and he likes moving quickly.
We're playing so fast. There's no time to think. That's what I was used to at Eastern Washington, at Oregon. We were always doing hurry, always. And there's no time to think, and there's no time for the defense to really get into the coverages that they want. So, you know, then the D-line is getting tired. So it's just, I think when I play fast, when we're in the fast mode, I play better.
So let's see what they do now with the ball in the 4th quarter and trailing 17-6, still without a touchdown in this game at home. 4-man rush completes the pass underneath, and the yards after the catch for Javon Katoy getting up near the 30. It'll be a 2nd and very short coming up here for the Lions.
Well, this is where you find out if they're going to run tempo. Now they're going short yardage, so they're bringing out Dom Davis, but that hasn't been a guarantee tonight.
No. Well, I mean, one of the big stories early on in this game, you're right, in the 1st quarter, opening possession, they went for it down around the 20 of the Ticats, and Ted Laurent came in and they got stuffed and turned it over on downs. This, a 2nd down, leading to a 1st down as the drive continues here for BC.
So we won't get to see if the BC offense is going to turn to tempo and start calling plays at the line of scrimmage. I mean, they still can huddle up. Lots of time. We've seen bigger comebacks in the final 3 minutes, let alone 13. But see what happens on 2nd down here, depending on this 1st down production.
Lions come into this game, a record of 7-3, 4 points behind Winnipeg for 1st in the West. The Ticats in at 3-6. And they have the Argos next week in their traditional Labor Day game. Getting rid of it, and it looked like it got knocked at the line. It wobbles down, and a late flag coming out afterwards as it fell incomplete.
Yeah, that was tipped at the line of scrimmage. It looked like Jameer Thurman got his hand on that, and that, if this is a flag for PI or illegal contact, it would be picked up, because when it's tipped at the line, that changes the standard, changes everything as far as PI or illegal contact. stunt and then right down the middle, got his hands up. Good timing.
So you're right, no flag, and second down and 10 now at the 31 for BC. Down by 11 points.
Blitz.
Blitz coming. Adams gets rid of it, and he completes it too. In traffic. Well thrown football, and it is Justin McInnes in his first year with BC picking up another catch.
Yeah, they were coming, weren't they? It was off the edge. They were blitzing. It was full on. Go and see even the second and long you can get in the face of the quarterback. And Vernon Adams Jr. had a free man and a Delacaye, I believe it was. 16-yard gain, beating the blitz.
Right up across the 45, and we got Jonathan Kongbo coming in early, and the flags do come out. Kongbo, who was initially signed by BC and then traded to Hamilton before the regular season started.
Offside, Hamilton, number 4. It's 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
I've mentioned him a couple times tonight because I've watched him almost time up his get off. Like he is anticipating the snap count. That time Vernon Adams Jr. got him with a hard count, changed up the snap count, and caught him way offside.
And with that penalty, it'll now be a 1st and 5 at the BC 52. Trying to get something going here. The 12 minutes left here in the 4th quarter. For Adams. Off to the right, and that's complete across midfield. Catoy. And big Javon Catoy loses the football. It is out, and it is still on the carpet. And Casey Sales, some Ticats saying it's their football.
Delacaye has it.
Tunde Delacaye has the ball. As Javon Catoy was pushing for a bit more yardage, and the ball comes out, and there's a helmet thrown in disgust on the field by Alexander Hollins. And the ball will be put down at the Ticat 52. Catoy just lost it before he went down. Ticat football with an 11-point lead.
Well, we got a nice look at this close-up, and there's 3 hands on the football here. Javon Catoy owns 2 of them. The other one, the owner is Tunde Delacaye, who rips it out of there. Definitely a fumble. Hamilton recovers.
Wow. Big turnover made by the Lions, and the Ticats now close to midfield, and this offense has stayed on the field a lot. Taylor Powell again. A lot of pressure, but he got it away. He wanted Godwin, and the coverage was right there with Jalen Edwards-Cooper. It's incomplete.
He came down hard, and it looks like he may need some medical attention because I think he landed right on his tailbone. But Jalen Cooper here does a nice job of turning, and when he goes up for the ball, double move by Godwin, had him for a second, but see how he turns to turn into and look back at the line of scrimmage, back at the football? You saw how he landed awkwardly.
And one of the backups, Adrian Green, has come into this game as Jalen Edwards-Cooper is still down after that incompletion. Take a break here. BC Place. Be back after this. Jalen Edwards-Cooper, the field corner for the Lions, injured, and Adrian Green in his 2nd year out of St. Mary's has come in his place. A 2nd down now after that try to Godwin falls incomplete at the Hamilton 52.
Test him? Do you test him, Coach?
Well, let's see. Powell down the right. Wide open is Tim White. And there you go. Went to the wide side of the field out in that territory you're talking about, and it's a big first down for the Ticats.
Yeah, not necessarily on Adrian Green here, but that's White right there in that 3rd receiver spot. Trips to the wide side of the field. Adrian Green has man, so he's got his guy up in the front there. And then one thing that even Taylor Powell understood there is that a new guy on the corner is probably not going to fall off his man and get underneath that short corner route, which we've seen from veterans many times.
To the BC 27. And back to the ground to James Butler as he gets wrapped up, but he hauls his defender there for more good yardage. It'll be a 2nd and short coming up as he pulls his way down to about the 20. Thibaut Dabaye was the one that Got him wrapped up and a little smile and conversation there for his old teammate.
Well, he dragged him. Tobias not little. I mean, weighs in at 285. And James Butler weighs in at 210. That's a whole lower half of a body heavier, and look at him drag him for 4.
Gets his rush yardage up to 106. And a touchdown, another one receiving too. What a remarkable day for James Butler. Not over yet, but looking good for his Ticats. Powell, though, taken down as he is sacked again there. Coming in is Woody Barron back into the BC lineup, and that's the 3rd time the Lions defense has been able to corral Taylor Powell and take him down.
Yeah, the Lions absolutely had to have that. I mean, that, you know, this, if Taylor Powell takes him down here and scores, makes it 3 possessions, you know, that's tough to come back from the way things have unfolded here tonight. But holding to a field goal, goes from 11 to 14. You're still 2 possessions away if you're the Lions.
Excuse me, Woody Barron, that's his 4th sack, and that was the 4th sack for BC in the day. So in comes Mark Leggio, 1 for 1 on the day. This one to be put down by Vedvik, just shy of the 35, and a chance to make it a 14-point lead. And 2 for 2 for Mark Leggio. Good bounce back game for him. Just a gorgeous day in Canada's West Coast. With the Lions, they have work to do, down 2 touchdowns. And now it is time for our Coors Light moment of chill, and this is a wonderful moment here. Lions defensive coordinator Ryan Phillips and hauls a young fan over the fence and onto the field, and check out the grab here suits.
Oh, sign him up. Put him on the neg list.
Well, the nice moment of chill for Ryan Phillips then, not so much now. It's been a challenge for BC's defense, and not all that relaxing for that man, but we're still giving it for what he did before, that moment of chill. But for the Lions D, it's more about the time of possession, how long those drives have been for Hamilton's offense. And that one is complete to Javon Catoy.
Right back to Catoy. And a good idea for Vernon Adams Jr. to do exactly that. He missed one in the flat in the first half, and then that fumble turns into a field goal. 3 punts, 2 field goals, missed field goal, turnover on downs, and a fumble have been the only series that the Lions have had offensively.
Here we are near the midway point of the 4th quarter, and that number of possessions only for BC, it's remarkable. As they try to extend this possession and get down into the end zone, they need to find it. They haven't today. Taquan Mizell on the carry there.
I think they go tempo now, and you get a little bit of, you take a look at the time left on the clock, though. Still tons of time in Canadian football at 2 possessions. In fact, talking to coaches on these Zooms across the board, you're always saying, where do you feel comfortable? And you hear, if we're 2 possessions with 3 minutes or less to go, we're in. We love it.
It can be an explosive offense. See what they do here. There's a deep look. Deep shot in behind, and the receiver Hollins tripped. And Kenneth George is getting flagged for pass interference.
Yeah, and for Kenneth George, this may be incidental, and may be a trip. They got their feet tangled up. I'm not sure he really pushed him. We'll take another look right into your living room. This is Hollins over the top. A little push in the back. Yeah, there was a push. Now, if it's a point of foul with the push, it's a point of foul down inside the 20.
Accidental pass interference.
Okay, accidental
Hamilton,
is 10.
Number 3.
And that's
10-yard penalty. First down.
Good observation. That's exactly what it is. Initially, they went down to the point of the infraction. Now bringing it back, it still is a penalty against George and the Ticats, but 10 yards instead.
Instead, yeah, 10-yard penalty instead of point of foul, which would have been inside the 10 there. And I think Katsatonis went over to George and said, yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it. Don't get mad about the difference between 10 yards and what would have been, what, 40, 45.
That's a big difference. So it's at the Ticat 47, though, for Vernon Adams Jr. and this BC offense down 2 touchdowns and working a shorter one there, and that is intended for Lucky Whitehead, who, spectacular as he can be, has had a quiet game.
George is still talking to the refs. He's still upset. He hit Lucky Whitehead there. It was fine. It wasn't a penalty. Tell you what, if I'm Jordan Maksimic, I might just
go after him.
Put Keon Hatcher out there, or Alexander Holland, maybe even Whitehead, and say, take him deep. See if he can calm down.
Well, he's a big play receiver. Whitehead only targeted twice, no catches in this game. Moments like this are made for him. There's a deep look, and it's off the fingertips of McInnes, and it falls incomplete. Simone Lawrence there, and a third down.
That's exactly where they went. It was with Justin McInnes, who had a little bit of room on the inside. He got some help, George did, from Simone Lawrence.
And it's a 3rd and 10, and they are going for it. Yes, they are at the 47 of the Ticats. 7 minutes exactly on the clock, and now counting. 3rd down, Gamble, BC. 3-man rush. That's it. It's intercepted by Jameer Thurman. Gets across midfield. He's still on his feet. Finally taken down by Lucky Whitehead, but close to the BC 40. Lions were facing a turnover on downs. This turnover was even worse.
I think the intended target, Rod, was out here, and it was an in route from the inside out. Jameer Thurman, who was sitting right on the hash marks, he's going to cut underneath this, leave Hatcher wide open in the middle. He just read the eyes and the throwing motion of Vernon Adams Jr., and he cut underneath that dig route. Huge play for the Ticats. Not only get the ball back, but flop the field all the way to, well, 5 yards from field goal range at the worst.
Down nosing in at the 43 of BC. Oh, the Ticats have had big plays on defense, and certainly their offense too. Sustaining long drives, making it tough for Adams. James Butler is making it tough for just about everybody on BC in this one, as he drives down for 8 more yards in his first game back since he was a member of the Lions last season.
Yeah, I love watching this offensive line play the way they're playing tonight. I mean, this is, look at that, just slide to the right. Everybody pick up that next available. When you see the off-color shirt, you get that guy. So all the offensive line going one direction, like they're a chain link fence, just going across, and pick up the opposite shirt, whoever flashes. They're blocking it up nicely.
They have had a great game, that unit up front for Hamilton. 2nd and 2, BC 35, and Butler breaks a tackle. And a flag comes out for face masking as the helmet came off. That's Josh Woods, one of the many former teammates of James Butler, who takes him down and draws the flag.
Well, you know, the fact that
face
Woods,
mask, BC, number 2. It's 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
You know, the fact that Woods had the face mask is one thing. What he did at the end of that, ripping it right off of James Butler's head, is another. And that may add a few yards to this penalty.
Bad to worse for the BC Lions. We head down 5.5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. The ball at the BC 20. Hamilton with it, and a 14-point lead. James Butler. 4th trip to the red zone for this Ticats offense. 114 yards on the ground, adding to it there just a couple. As Ben Haladic comes in
and
make that tackle.
That decision, Rod, from Woods is out of frustration, and that's not an excuse because it's a bad decision. But you know, when you're giving up over 100 yards rushing, your defense back on the field after a pick, and that's when those bad decisions happen.
Talking about old lines, and normally we don't mention their names unless there's a penalty, so let me say it. Brandon Kemp, Brandon Revenberg, David Beard, Calderwood Manzi, and Kendrick Sartor give their names mention for a positive reason in the work they've done up front. And not just them. Just the scheme and everything about what the Ticats have been managing to do offensively. Far from over yet, 4.5 to go. But we see a smile in the head coach.
Yeah, there hasn't been many of those smiles this year.
Time count violation, Hamilton, number 0. 5-yard penalty, remain second down.
A great discussion with Coach Steinauer this week about just, the expectation.
Timer, please put 4 minutes, 38 seconds on the clock, 4:38.
He's often asked with the Grey Cup in Hamilton this year about the pressure of that. And, is this team going in the right direction? Are they building, or are they just going in the opposite? He's still quite confident in this football team.
So it's 2nd and 15 now. Ticats second worst rushing team in the CFL coming into this game. Not today. Butler just gets a few yards back, close to the original line of scrimmage.
I thought it was interesting when he talked about his defense, and he said, going into the season, I know a lot of the experts across the country said that front seven is going to be maybe the best in the league, and they've got veterans in the secondary like Richard Leonard and guys like that. And I said, how's your defense playing? He said, when we're struggling and our offense is struggling, we need to get our defense to start thinking like this. Start thinking like you play against the other team's defense. If they give up 3, you can't give up any more than 3. You got to give up less than 3. If they give up 7, you got to give up 3. You got to look like get that level of competition going
to prevent infighting on the team or resentment of the other unit.
Exactly. So you don't look at the other unit. You don't look at the offense. Say, guys, you got to get going. You say, if we beat the other defense, we can win no matter what they're doing. And I just thought it was an interesting way to send your message to your team. Again, and I know
Timer, please put 4 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock. 4:25.
But the Hamilton Tiger Cats are right in the thick of it. They can continue this out and finish this 4:25.
They can finish this out. Puts even more pressure on the Red Blacks tomorrow in Edmonton. They're tied right now with 3 wins, and Hamilton has a game in hand and has beaten Ottawa twice this season.
And they've got a quarterback there they can work with.
Mark Leggio, this is a big field goal because this makes it a 3-score game if he gets it. 2 for 2 on the day. And that's 3 for 3, Leggio. That is big. It makes it 17 points now. 3-score lead for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Are getting awfully close to a big victory now. 4:21 on the clock.
Yeah, that's a big field goal, and he's had a bounce back game too. And again, this unit has played well. Now, the run game, the balance. Scott Milinovich's play calling tonight for their offense. I've been impressed with Taylor Powell and his poise. I shouldn't be surprised after the conversation we had with him this week. But you never know until you get out there. I thought the game plan tonight with the balance and James Butler and their offensive line getting a chance to really chow down is the difference tonight.
Well, Vernon Adams Jr. likes working tempo. They're going to have to start working faster now. That is complete. And that's up across the 50 now, and the first catch of the afternoon for Lucky Whitehead.
Yeah, and the secondary for Hamilton is going to be like the unsung hero group of this game, I believe, because this is an explosive BC offense. We've seen big play after big play all season long from this group. They haven't given a deep one up.
They get over the ball. 3:33 on the clock. Short one, and it's in and out of the hands of Taquan Mizell.
Yeah, Rick Campbell at halftime, that great interview when he was just very open and honest about his team and saying, I love working with these guys because they play with such great enthusiasm and speed and tempo. And we've got to pick that up because we didn't have it in the first half. I got some bad news too, and he knows it. They didn't have it in the second half either.
No, not at this point now. Clock, we're getting close to the 3-minute warning, a 3-score game. And for Keon Hatcher and that BC offense, it's a 2nd and 10 now at the Lions 51. Adams has time and gets it off near the sideline to Javon Catoy. Right at the 50, a gain of 9. So a 3rd down is coming up here, and they need about a yard. This would just about be it. Last time, similar spot in the field, they tried on a 3rd and 10, and it was intercepted by Jameer Thurman.
A different play call here, but yeah.
3rd and 1. And completing it to Hatcher. and down closer to the Ticat 40, so the drive does continue. 2:44 on the clock and the 3-minute warning officially given. BC Lions, really an uphill climb now for them. Week 12 will wrap up tomorrow. Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. The Elks, yeah, they're tired of hearing about the long home losing streak, but they ended a long losing streak last week in Hamilton. Finally won for the first time this season, and it's big for the Red Blacks too, especially seeing what the Ticats are doing today in Vancouver.
No question. Tightens things up. Big game for both teams.
Off to Mizell. 2.5 minutes to go in this, and gets it down to close to the 35.
Really got to hustle now. Every second matters. Down 3 scores.
Up over the ball. Vernon Adams close to another 300-yard passing game. He's at 290 right now and adds to the total right there.
Adams pass complete to
Javon Katoy with the catch as they quickly move up again. 2:21 on the clock, and you know, we talked about how remarkable it is that BC had only allowed an opponent 1 touchdown, and that was against Montreal in 4 games before this. Well, not only have they allowed a touchdown, they haven't scored one here at home tonight. Trying to right now. A look into the end zone, into double coverage. Justin McInnes wants a call, but he is not getting it. It falls incomplete, and a 3rd down is coming up.
Now the Lions have a timeout, but if Rick Campbell wants to challenge this and they don't win it, they lose it. Looked like Justin McInnes, he reacted as if he thought, hey, I might burn my challenge here.
And I spoke out of turn. It's 2nd down coming up.
Well, I think Rick Campbell is going to.
But he does have the flag. Yeah, and he is challenging that. But it would be, without this, it would be a 2nd down coming up. But
BC is challenging the previous play for pass interference. The play will be reviewed.
Justin McInnes, by his reaction, I think it was that he couldn't jump. Like he was trying to jump ball and high point that throw. And that jersey, the jersey is the one that you can't really hide in replay. You can hide live as a DB. You can't hide it in replay.
so Justin McInnes, the intended receiver, Rick Campbell throwing the challenge flag, and we're going to hear the announcement from Justin McInnes, the referee in this game.
When you see that jersey separate from the body, that's Richard Leonard leads the team in interceptions. Really didn't have to grab.
So was it pass interference on Lions receiver Justin McInnes? Here's the announcement from the ref, Justin McInnes.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. BC will be charged a timeout.
And that's the gamble. The Lions lose their timeout if it's ruled that way. And I think what has happened here on this call alone, the officials and the command center has now set a different precedent for what should or could be pass interference. Usually when that jersey separates from the body, it is automatic. So that just changed tonight.
At the 26, fans not liking the decision. 2nd down and 10, and coming back for it, Lucky Whitehead. And a 1st down here as the Lions quickly get up over the ball on that reception by Whitehead. A gain of 15 yards. Down to the Ticat 11.
Take a couple shots right to the end zone here and try and save as much time as possible. And it's onside kick time.
First, we got to get to the end zone. A look and a touchdown. Keon Hatcher. Finally, the BC Lions get to the end zone. 11-yard TD strike.
Boom. Hit him in the hole. It's a steep hill to climb here, but that's how you start. Onside kick team, get ready is what the Lions' Mike Benavides is saying on the sideline.
But first, the 1-point conversion coming up. No point going for 2 with a 17-point difference coming into this. The 1 point alone would make it a 10-point difference. Still needing a touchdown and a field goal. So they just kicked the point after Sean White. And down to a 2-score game. Mike Benavides, special teams coordinator, our old colleague as well.
Likely see a guy like Justin McInnes on the onside kick team. Going to see some receivers out there. Probably Javon Catoy. It looks like he's in that huddle. Remember, the rule in Canadian football is the ball will be kicked high in the air, and it's the last guy to deliberately tip it out of bounds. If you try and kick it out of bounds, it goes to the other team. But the last guy to touch it before it goes out of bounds.
It was a 9-play, 70-yard drive capped off with an 11-yard touchdown pass to Keon Hatcher. So yeah, hands team. And then you got to consider those who are good with the football on the Ticats side of things.
Yeah, no question. And the front line on the return team, onside kick return, is got to try and get in the way, block, not the guy that's going to catch the ball. You can't interfere with him.
It's a big moment for the special teams coordinators. You saw Mike Benavides, Jeff Reinbold, the same role with the Tiger Cats now.
Duke Williams will be the guy. He's just to the right of your screen. Duke Williams will be the guy right here that will be in charge of trying to tip it out or catch it clean.
See Tim White in there, closer to this side of the field, similar to Williams. So they fake it, and Flintoff kicks it. And it is picked up by Tim White, and he'll take it all the way in for a Hamilton touchdown. Well, hey, full marks for the innovation and the try by BC as they did the fake, and then Flintoff kicked it, but Tim White made sure Lions aren't coming back in this game.
Yeah, well, this is the seen this many times where they're going to look like they load up the left side over here. That's a right-footed kicker. That's where he wants and Sean White to kick it, and then switch it up. Flintoff goes the opposite way. Now the idea here is that he wants to get a big hop. That second one, if you get lucky, and you got to be a little lucky. The ball's not shaped like a soccer ball. You got to be a little bit lucky, but if you get the right bounce, it bounces super high in the air. Tim White has to sit under it, and it gives the cover team a chance. That time, he got the hop right to his hands, and goodbye for Tim White.
47 yards of daylight for Tim White to take it in, and gets a special teams touchdown. The Ticats leading receiver, and that should just about do it. 1:45 on the clock, but a 30-13 lead now as the 3-score game is restored.
This will be back-to-back losses for the BC Lions, and you think back to that game went right down to the wire against Saskatchewan, and then their first one at home, where they have been dominant all year, as we pointed out in the first half.
That, by the way, the 10th special teams return touchdown this season. Seen a lot of punt return TDs, and that one coming off a kickoff for Tim White. There with Taylor Powell. Here we talked to Orlando Steinauer before this game and just the way things went against Edmonton last week. And he reminded us that they had a terrible start to the season last year. They ended up being 3-9. They went 5-1 down the stretch to finish up at 8-10.
Well, listen, there's a lot of football to be played, and like we mentioned, pressure on Ottawa now tomorrow in Edmonton, and Elks desperately trying to get that home win. Tightens things up.
Leggio with the squib kick. Zips taken down. And down to the 40.
But how about this? Last time I checked the calendar, the Labor Day weekend's around.
There you go. And we used to always say, because it was true, it never really mattered which team, Argos or Ticats, were better on Labor Day. You could say the same about the other rivalries, too.
No question.
That Labor Day game is something different. And the Argos, with a victory, a close one as it was over Calgary in a crazy game last night.
Great game. That was an entertaining football, absolutely.
But they'll be watching this, seeing what Hamilton has been able to do.
Yep.
Controlling the line of scrimmage. Dane Evans in to face his old team. Recall him starting in 2 Grey Cups with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and he will get in for Adams and get some reps against his old club, the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Casey Sales on the tackle there on Mizell.
Yeah, at this point you're protecting your guys and run this minute 38 out. Yeah, so Labor Day weekend around the corner, and Toronto in a shootout against Calgary. Calgary so close in, 6 of their 8 losses have gone down to inside the final 3 minutes, like 1-possession games, and they're close. Edmonton wins, and Labor Day becomes even more interesting in Alberta.
And Mizell with it now, and Kenneth George taking him down. Now, there's always the forgotten rivalry, if you will. Not really an established rivalry on Labor Day because of the 9 teams, the imbalance. But BC has played Montreal on Labor Day weekend before. But let's not forget that matchup with the Lions and the Alouettes both coming off.
Yeah.
Really some difficult losses this week and heading into Molson Stadium. And that'll start things off before we get into the traditional Labor Day rivalries. But
Saskatchewan in the bye right now. They'll be fresh.
Oh, yeah.
And just beat the BC Lions in their last game.
Right.
Little momentum.
And the last game between the Riders and Bombers, that was back in week 2. Remember that one? That was pretty back and forth. Albeit, Trevor Harris at quarterback, but we saw what Jake Dolegala could do before last week against BC.
I think they got something in Taylor Powell. I impressed tonight the way he handled things. He had great balance in the offense for sure, and the star of the game was James Butler, but when he had to make those second down throws, he got it done.
Steady performance for Powell. Mizell again. But James Butler, the story coming in was that man coming in to face his old team, and right from the get-go, Suits, he really did establish himself running back for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Well, he did, yeah. And a lot of it was between the tackles. There's his first touchdown. He went up over the top, but Scott Milenovich mixed it up so well that it wasn't the same types of running plays. It wasn't just keep pounding him and he was having success. The O-line really started to dig in, and they got better as the game went on. But it was just great variety in the play calling, and get him out of, late in the 4th quarter, they started to get him out of the backfield and wide when the linebackers for BC started to close into the line of scrimmage. So it's really nice play calling, good balance, and again, a guy that was, I would say, a little motivated coming back to the West Coast.
Butler does it again in different colors, and the Ticats wanted to start off the second half of their season with an impressive win, and the Tiger Cats did it right in the Lions' den, handing BC their first home loss of the season and doing it decisively. What a job by Taylor Powell, James Butler. That Tiger Cat offense and big plays by the defense as well, as they had that stop right early on 3rd down try and forced the turnover on down. So Orlando Steinauer sees his team improve to 4-6 and now 2 points ahead of the Ottawa Redblacks, who play in Edmonton tomorrow. The BC Lions falling to a record of 7-4, their 2nd straight loss. That's why they play the game. The Ticats, they didn't feel like underdogs at all, and they showed it right from the start. Thanks for watching the Ticats and the Lions from BC Place, and the CFL on TSN Sports Center is next. So long, everybody.
Hey, what's up, everybody? everybody. Welcome inside SportsCenter. She's Julia. I am Tessa, and this officially marks our first SportsCenter show together, bud.
It's a big day for Northern Ontario.
I'd say. Thunder Bay, Sudbury, what? We're going to kick things off with the game we just saw between the Ticats and the Lions. And for BC, it was a bounce-back opportunity for them. They had some losses against Saskatchewan and Winnipeg, dropping them down to second, but an opportunity for Hamilton as well.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing season so far for the Hamilton Ticats. Lions are 10.5-point favorites over the Ticats on FanDuel, while Hamilton plus 410 to win outright in the first quarter. Facing third down, Lions line up to go for it. Here they go. But quarterback Vernon Adams punts the ball, catching the Ticats without a returner, pins them at their own 15-yard line. Adams, in his third game back from injury, helps run the successful trick play early on.
Felt like rugby for a minute there.
It did. Ensuing Ticats drive in the second quarter, James Butler jumps over the top for the touchdown. Butler played for the Lions last season. He had 75 rushing yards in the first half. 7-zip. Ticats. Nice little celly there, too. That was interesting. Still 7-0 in the second quarter. Mathieu Betts gets to Taylor Powell for the sack. His leading 12th of the year. On we go. Ticats up 10-6 in the third. Hamilton with the 1st and 10. Taylor Powell passes to Butler. He finds the end zone. His second score of the game. Hamilton now up 17-6 in BC. BC's been good at home too this year. Then in the fourth, Adams passes to Javon Catoy, but he fumbles the ball, trying to push for more yards. Can't get greedy with it. Ticats recover. The underdog Tiger Cats, who only have 3 wins this season, they're up 11 in the fourth quarter. It's all about a bounce back. Later in the quarter, facing a 3rd and 10, Adams Jr. is intercepted by Jameer Thurman. Adams' 11th interception of the season. The Tiger Cats defense comes up absolutely huge. Then Tim White returns the squib kick. All right, this is late in the fourth, where Tim White returns the squib kick, his 3rd touchdown of the season. And that's how Hamilton puts this one away. 30-13, your final. Hamilton came into the game with a -8 turnover ratio, which was the 2nd worst in the league. Today, they were +3. Not only did 7 Hamilton players have a catch, they all had a reception of at least 10 yards. 3 of Hamilton's 4 wins are on the road. For more, here's Kate in the panel.
Alongside Dave Naylor, Jim Barker, Milt Stegall, and an absolutely shocking ending to this game. Something that none of us saw coming, but especially Milt.
I appreciate your optimism, but there's no chance.
Even like that
Even with 6 interceptions, I don't think they can win this game. Let's just be honest. They just don't have the talent on the field.
And this is why we're not experts.
Even the great humble pie. It's good for you every now
That was my alter ego, the man of Stegall. That's who's going to do it.
Yeah, superhero night. Superhero. But kudos to the Tiger Cats. I mean, what a game for them to roll into BC and coming off especially a loss to the Elks.
Right. James Butler, the Butler did do it. He was slicing and dicing all through that defense. I think he had over 150 total yards, 2 touchdowns, and he was running like he was mad that they didn't sign him back. I know he didn't say that, but that's how he looked. So there's definitely concerns for these BC Lions, but James Butler and these Hamilton Tiger Cats came out and did an awesome job.
Well, the young quarterback in his 4th start started to look like a legitimate CFL quarterback. Made no errors. He stood in the pocket. He made big 3rd down throws for them. And when you hold the ball for the kind of drives they had 13 play drives, 8 play drives. They just never had the ball. What'd you say, Dave? How many drives did BC have?
It was about 10 in the game,
It's tough to win when you don't have the ball.
They really shortened the game, which was one of the things that was a key for them going up against what we expected to be an explosive offense.
And let's look at the BC Lions now. For so long this season, we've always put them in there with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the Toronto Argonauts, are the top 3 teams in the CFL. But after the last 2 weeks, you really have to question that. But who are the BC Lions?
Well, that's what we're asking right now, especially after a game like this, because you think, what are the BC Lions, especially when they're playing at home? They are stingy on defense at home. They do not give up the end zone. 59 drives against them, 1 touchdown going into this game. And they're an explosive, up-tempo offense. We didn't see that in this game. We didn't even see many big plays off them in this game. Here's the big thing, though. When you look at the last 2 weeks, losing to Saskatchewan, an under 500 team, and then again to Hamilton, turnover ratio in those 2 games, 9-0. Wow. 5-0 last week, 4-0 this week. That will turn the tables in a hurry.
Well, we've talked about the smaller defensive front. Teams are running the ball on them. I mean, James Butler, Scott Milanovich's game plan was very, very good. He got the ball to him in a lot of different ways, but they ran the ball right up the gut the first half and gained control physically of the game. That's, to me, where it was decided, Milt, was that first half when they just physically took it to them.
We talked about the elite teams in this league. BC Lions are no longer an elite team.
No,
you have Toronto and you have Winnipeg, and then you have the BC Lions. But now they better concern themselves with who? The Saskatchewan Roughriders. They have the ball rolling. They're, what, two games behind them? These BC Lions better get it going because they're struggling right now.
And the Montreal Alouettes are in that. There's,
I'm just talking about in the West, though. What's going on in the West? What's going on in the West? So, no, they're not an elite team anymore.
The Lions were a double-digit favorite in this game, end up dropping it. But you know what? As we say every single night, it's the CFL. Anything can happen as we send it back to Sports Center.
New on SC, here's Farhan Lalji with Orlando Steinauer.
It's been tough going the last few weeks. How important is this?
Yeah, we needed to get in the win column. That's the bottom line. It is extremely important. Proud of our guys, coaches, everybody involved. The prep was good. And bigger than that, the execution was a little bit better tonight.
How do you go from being the second last team in rushing in the league to what you did tonight with James Butler?
I think running the ball is an attitude, and I think we had our hands full. We knew they were going to give us a lot of different looks, and I thought we got on a body for the most part. And James was outstanding, but credit the guys up front.
Powell was efficient. You talk about the guys up front. He gave up 4 sacks, but he wasn't under siege. Other than those 4 plays, it felt like he had a lot of time.
Yeah, and then some of those sacks aren't always necessarily on the O-line. Sometimes you hold the ball in order to not turn it over, and we got to play the field position game. So at the end of the day, we needed to find the win column, and we did that.
Defensively, just this Lions team, especially at home, has been so explosive offensively. How were you able to manage this?
Well, I just think obviously containing, Vernon a little bit. We were fortunate they had a couple of drops, but I thought we did a great job of playing top down for the most part and making them earn things. And then obviously our offense stayed on the field, which kept us a little bit fresh. Special teams was big. That's why it's a team effort.
Thanks so.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, see if Edmonton can snap its 22-game home losing streak against the Red Blacks. Coverage starts at 7 Eastern. The Elks are 0-4 in games decided by 10 points or less. Red Blacks are close game specialists. 9 of their 10 games have been decided in the last 3 minutes.
Do it, Edmonton.
I kind of just want him to keep winning.
Doesn't need much time. All right, new on SC, here's Farhan with Taylor Powell.
I'll ask you the same thing I asked your coach. It's been a bit of a challenge for the last month or so for this team. Just how much does this mean to you guys?
It's huge, man. CFL's a long season. I try to chop wood, carry water every day, just try to improve each day, and then results take care of themselves. You just got to focus on the process, and I think you're starting to see the fruition of what it means to just truly submit to the process, and that's what we're trying to do as a team.
What about what you were able to do with the run game? And it led to so many long drives. They weren't able to get into a rhythm offensively because you never gave them the ball.
Because we got a great O-line, we got receivers that block, and we got a hell of a back, James Butler. Makes my job pretty easy, man. Just super grateful I have a great team around me, great coaches.
You also converted on a number of second downs, including some second and longs that were really important. How much more confident are you right now?
Same as I have, then just try to be myself every day, man. Just blessed to get to play this game. It's super fun. I love ball, confidence. I don't know, just kind of love playing football. And that's where it comes from.
Thanks for this. Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
That is your quarterback. When SportsCenter returns, we head back to Vancouver for more post-game analysis from the Ticats Lions tilts.
And we head to MetLife Stadium as Aaron Rodgers makes his preseason debut as a Jet in the Battle of New York.
SC. Farhan doing the double dip with Jameer Thurman and James Butler.
You guys were the second last team in the league in rushing coming into this game. What changed?
Man, it was personal. Everybody know that. You know, I wasn't talking about it before the league, but like, it was personal. You can see it in my eyes. It was personal. You know that.
Did the coaches feel it and respond and want to give you that responsibility?
I mean, I don't brag or boast about it, but whatever opportunities they're going to give me today, I was going to take advantage of it. So, I was blessed with as many carries as I got, so just try to take advantage of it.
Took advantage, too. Well, and now one of the reasons he went to Hamilton is because of his relationship with you, and the defense was as impressive today, holding a pretty explosive offense under wraps.
Yeah, we were locked in today. We accepted the challenge. We knew they were a pretty explosive offense, but we had to put a complete game together, and I think we did that today.
Tell me about the interception.
I mean, I was just reading his eyes, I mean, at the end of the game, they was trying to make a play, and, I was too. So, I just read it and then broke on the ball.
Guys, thanks for this. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, powered by FanDuel, here are the odds for the Red Blacks and Elks tomorrow night. Edmonton is a slight favorite on the spread. Why, you ask? Well, they're coming off their first win of the season, but will now look to end their historic 22-game losing streak. The Red Blacks head into this game on a 4-game losing streak. However, they have covered the spread in 6 of their last 7 games against the Elks, so there's always that. The total for this game is 45.5, if that means anything to you. 45.5.
New on SC. Here's Vernon Adams Jr.
It was kind of a uncharacteristic performance from you guys. A lot of self-inflicted mistakes. It looked like it was kind of a slow start. Just what was your take on the start of the game and how it unfolded?
Exactly. Slow start. I felt like we were moving the ball pretty good, and we just weren't finishing. You know what I'm saying? We were all kind of taking our turns, not finishing. And man, it just sucks. I hate losing, man. I hate it. I hate it more than I like winning, and it's tough, man. But we're gonna get it together, man. We're gonna get back to work, and we're gonna get right.
Yeah, it looked like there were a couple plays that, second down, first down plays that could have converted short yardage. You guys had some problems tonight. What was going on in line in those situations?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think on the first one. I don't know if the ball got snapped on time or something like that. I don't know what it was, but we want to be better all around. We're gonna check it out. We're gonna see what it was. So I'm not sure though.
Thanks.
Yep.
They seem to have some long drives throughout this game. How much tougher did that make it for you guys when you got on offense to get any kind of rhythm?
It's tough, but at the same time, if they can do it, we need to be able to do it. We need to give our defense a rest as well. And. That's a good team. They were fighting. They brought everything they had. And like I said, we weren't finishing. We didn't make enough plays. That's a great team.
You guys have had games this year where you've come out of the gate on fire. That hasn't happened the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Is there something to that?
I don't know, but we need to figure it out. As a team. Starting with me, I said it last. When we start out fast and we go score, we love to receive and we love to go down there. We score. That helps our defense out. That gives them the motivation to get a 2 and out or a stop, and then we just get going. And we just need to get back to that playing Lions football.
300 yards for you. Did it feel like that?
Man, no, it didn't. And again, like I told you earlier, man, I would trade these yards for a win, man. And I just need to be better for this team. Yeah, we got to get it right. That's it.
First time you guys have lost 2 in a row. How do you prevent this from snowballing?
We got to come to work. We just said it. We didn't even say too much at our break. We just said, hey, work on 3, and that was it. We need to come to work. Everybody, we have a great energy, great team. Everybody gets along. We have fun. Now it's just time to put all that stuff. Let's go. Let's go to work, and let's get back in the win column.
Got time for 2 more, so JC.
Yeah.
Okay, JC. Yeah.
It looked like after the Javon Katoy fumble there, you and Alexander Hollins had a bit of a moment. He was emotional. I wonder what you say to your teammate there in that circumstance.
That's my brother, and I just tell him, hey, man, we need you. He's got one of the best personalities, energies on this team. So I just say, hey, don't show that. We can't show the other team that. Just stay together. And he was open on that play too, and I think that was the frustration as well. I was just trying to get the ball out. It was a 2nd or 1st and 5. I was just trying to get the first and plug it to him real quick, and it's an unfortunate play.
How do we get the energy back? Because it seems like you came out flat last week and you found it. This week, you didn't.
Yeah, Yeah, JC. Again, like we have great energy. At practice, we have fun. We have a good time. We come to work. And now we just need to just put it all together. You know what I'm saying? We have a great team, man. We really do. And again, it just starts with, like I said, we like to receive. So it starts with the offense. We got to go down and score right away. Let's help the defense out. Let's put the pressure on them. And just get back to getting that energy, playing Lions football.
New on SC, here's BC Lions head coach Rick Campbell.
Obviously, JB was motivated to come back here and make a statement, but that was a team that was second last, I think, in the league in rushing coming into the game. You guys have been good defending the run. What happened?
Yeah, I know we got pushed around. He's a good player, number one, but we were getting pushed around up front, and there were times we knew they were running the ball, and we still got pushed around. So we got to make sure scheme-wise we're doing whatever we can do to put the players in the best position, and then we just got to get more stout up front and be able to stop the run.
I think short yardage is always a good litmus test of a team's sort of readiness for a game. And the first quarter, second quarter, you guys were getting stuffed. You weren't getting anything. Just what were your thoughts on that part?
Yeah, I agree. That's, they got to convert. That third down was huge. It was very makeable, and I think we had trouble with the snap, and things like that aren't good. And that's on the flip side is we got to get them off the field in second down, and we didn't do that enough today.
You mentioned that the energy wasn't good at the start, but I felt like the energy never really got there at all tonight.
I know. I'm surprised. That's what I said when I was bothered, is that it never seemed to show up, and I'm not sure why. We had a good week of practice. Everything seemed good. The guys seemed excited about getting back out there, and maybe we need to handle when things aren't going our way for whatever reason. Maybe we can handle that better, of digging ourselves out when things aren't going our way for whatever reason. I think we just got stuck when it didn't go our way. We never fought our way out of it.
You guys did get into the red zone when you were down 7 there, but you chose to kick the field goal on 3rd and 2. Did the thought ever cross your mind to maybe take a swing and go for it?
No, I got to think of what the score was at that point, but we were just trying to make sure we were back in it and go from there. So that.
What at the end? 7 minutes to go, and you go for it on 3rd and 10.
Yeah.
What were you like? You're at midfield. What were you feeling then at that point?
Just that we were on the positive side of the field, and that points were hard to come by. We weren't scoring, and I thought we had to take a chance when I stopped punting. I was looking for some type of spark to get us going, and thinking we can make a play, we can keep this thing going, and it didn't happen.
You got 4 sacks tonight, but it didn't seem like Powell was constantly under pressure, and that O-line has had some struggles. Do you feel like your D-line kind of needs a bit of a spark right now?
Yeah, I think their quarterback looked comfortable to me, which is not good, and that's a function of not just our D-line. That's a function of all 12 guys, the people covering guys, and all that. They looked a step faster than us, and they looked like they had better energy than us. And like I said, I don't. Not typical of our guys.
The onside attempt at the end, I don't know if I've ever seen an onside return for a touchdown before. Is that just sort of an indication of how this night went for you in every phase?
Yeah, I mean, that obviously we don't want that to happen, but we don't practice an onside kick to stop a touchdown going the other way. We need to get the ball. So, yeah, I remember one in the 2002 Grey Cup.
JC wasn't born then.
I was 5
Jermaine Copeland, was it?
Jesus.
I don't know why I remember.
This is a CFL encyclopedia here.
Jalen okay?
Yeah.
I think so. He kind of had a banged up shoulder, and I think it was bothering him, but I don't think it's serious, but I got to talk to our trainers. I think we came out pretty good from a injury standpoint, which is one positive.
How close is Dom to coming back?
September. He's dropped some weight, which is good. He says he's eating right, and I think that's a good thing. He came back a little bit heavier, but I think it's going to be good for him to be lighter. And we had a conversation that we want him to come back fully ready to go and fresh, because he's obviously a difference-making player for us. So he won't play this coming week, but I think after that, after the bye week, that's when we'll definitely have the conversations of getting him going again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.